my goodness, we got everything kind of going around here. Welcome to the Boys Crypto Show. This has been a historic day already. This daily candle close looking to be the highest ever in Bitcoin's history, looking to completely engulf that bearish candle that we had yesterday on the charts, potentially, right? Still a little early to say, and I know, looking at the 5-minute and the 1-minute time frame is kind of crazy right now. I know a lot of people, shoulder, right shoulder, we're gonna dump, right? So we are in an area for Bitcoin right now that is imperative to it's imperative for you to understand that we've only been at these prices for less than 24 hours of time in Bitcoin's history. Very, very important to understand. We're going to start as we always do. We're going to break Bitcoin down, but I want to exercise caution to each and every single one of you that is tuning in right now. This is not the time to FOMO in. This is not the time to make some crazy decisions with your money or do any all-in kind of nonsense. This is not the time. We can expect massive volatility until about 8 o'clock Central tonight when the Asian markets do open. So we do have a lot of flux in the market right now just because of the lack of liquidity that's in the market right now. It's the truth, right? We don't have the institutions that are supporting price, whether it be to the upside or selling on us to the downside until the Asian markets do open, one of the bigger markets around the world. Very important to understand that before we head on into the night. Very, very important. Drop your altcoins in the chat, drop your questions, and we're going to start where we always do, Bitcoin. I'm going to answer some key questions before you guys start jumping on in the chat. I'm going to answer, is it likely that, hey, we're going to dive on in and hit an all-time high tonight? When can we expect the all-time high? Bitcoin dominance, what's happening to my altcoin? It's not keeping up with Bitcoin. I'm going to dive on into that. We're going to talk about Ethereum. We're going to talk about XRP, and we're going to talk about some of the other coins that are in the top 10 that are kind of, lackluster right now comparatively to where you would expect them to be as Bitcoin rips rips past 100,000 and potentially testing the highs tonight. Very, very interesting. So let's start where we always do with Bitcoin, baby. First of all, on the 4 hour, this has been an immaculate flag. We did have some Chop City yesterday. Very, very true in the hey, appreciate it, man. We got the, I appreciate you, Christoph. We got the nice buzz cut going, man. It's so nice in the Texas heat, man. I'm not sweating my nuts off whenever I walk outside. But yeah, daily candle, 4 hour candle looking amazing for BTC. Continuation to the upside. And, you know, the technical target for this move here, takes us all the way to, yes, $115,000. And this can happen very fast. This flagpole here was formed over the course of 2 days. And, you know, based on that extrapolation target, it says, hey, it should only take about 2 to 3 days for us to get to this target. Is that going to happen for Bitcoin? That's the measured move. That's what the charts say. However, the odds of us squeezing up to here right away, I think, is going to be relatively low, because we don't necessarily have any news-driving events that are coming on into the market that could potentially spike a squeeze on optimism that Fed Chair Jerome Powell will cut rates here in the future. We have absolutely nothing tomorrow. Absolutely nothing. We have the Fed President, Tom Barkin. I don't even know who that guy is. Hopping on in, making a little bit of a speech, but no, you know, major events coming on in tomorrow. But Bitcoin, this is a technical breakout. This isn't news driven. This isn't anything other than, you know, us coming up and testing the highs of the greatest asset in the world. As the NQ and the S&P 500 started dumping to close the day, so did Bitcoin, but had a massive recovery over the past couple of hours since the stock market closed the last hour or so. Right, we did have a little bit of a dumpage, and then we got that massive pump, baby. We got that massive pump to the upside. Currently, we're sitting at about 106.3, and you know, as you zoom out on the chart here, you can see that the only price action we have in these zones are wicks, right? We've never closed up here ever in Bitcoin's history, and you know, we're playing that ball rolling down the hill scenario. This was our last high volume node to get over before we start rolling down. And where's this next high volume node likely to come in? When people start deciding to hit the sell button and buy button equally on BTC. That's where the next high volume node is going to form. We don't know where that's going to be because we're looking at a blue skies all-time high breakout for BTC, and that can happen very, very rapidly, very quickly. And I know the altcoins are struggling right now, but I'm going to talk to you guys about why I think that's about to end very, very soon. We did call alt season last night, and Bitcoin dominance did rip today. That chart, right, I didn't call the exact top, but we could potentially be looking at it right now dead in the face. So I'll go over that. But Bitcoin, at the end of the day, the flag looking beautiful for continuation to the upside. On the smaller time frames, are we likely going to see it tonight? It's hard to tell, and here's why, right? Because of the amount of shorts that are in the market right now, there's going to come a point, right? And I think that point's at about between $108,000 and $110,000, or a lot of stop losses. And you can even say the top of this wick here at 107.2, right? And I'm looking at the Binance chart with the perpetual contracts, but at 107.2, you're going to start this cascading event with liquidity to the upside. There's a giant glob of red, baby. And what I mean by that is there's tons of people with their stop losses above these highs, right? Every bear in the market right now, everybody who wants the price to go down, we caught the highs. They have their stops where? Right above $110,000. That's what insinuates those monstrous moves you see to the upside. That's what happened right here. We cracked over $60,000 and we got a massive squeeze, and we didn't stop pumping for 5 days, right? And that often happens when Bitcoin does crack the highs. You can get some massive squeezes to the upside because there's so many shorts with liquidations, right? Up in these zones that when you start triggering them, the exchanges are forced to buy that Bitcoin back. And what's unique about that pump, it's kind of crazy. These were weekend candles here, Saturday and Sunday, and you got some massive pumpage on low liquidity. That can definitely happen over the course of the weekend as well, but the week is just starting. The weekly candle for Bitcoin, look at this juicy weekly candle. As of right now, with this wick, this weekly support resistance flip currently sits at 104,000. $104,621. That is the nearest support that we have here on the charts. And you can even take it as a band here from 104.3 to about 103,000. So we have currently cracked above resistance and have retested it on the weekly as support so far. Now, of course, there's a lot of time to go here in this weekly candle. We could dump down, that's true, but I expect and I'm forecasting a massive pump for Bitcoin over the course of the next couple of days. I think this thing's gonna monumentally move, a support resistance flip at the highs with honestly nothing stopping you except a wick over here at 110,000. It looks juicy for rippage. It looks juicy for pumpage over the course of the next couple of days. And if this candle can close bullish engulfing, which will happen in about 2 hours and 21 minutes, we're not quite there. We're right about where the candle opened yesterday. But if we could close bullish engulfing on that, there's not many candles that you're going to see in the chart that are bullish engulfing that don't continue to the upside. Bullish engulfing candles are incredibly bullish patterns. Boom, 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 to the upside you usually go, and then that would storm over into that cascading liquidity event that we were liquidation event that we were talking about, stop losses, liquidations, all up in these zones, and we could go on a very parabolic run, something that Bitcoin has not done since back in November when we previously cracked the highs. We have a little bit of a parabola going on here. And for those of you who think that this can't come to fruition, that we can't be staring at a $120,000 to $130,000 Bitcoin in the next month or two, let me remind you of what happened the last time we cracked the highs. The last highs were about 72,000 and we ripped all the way up to $100,000. That was a 45% pump for the biggest crypto asset in the world. In the event that we even got a fraction of that, the last pump was 45%. We could get a 27% pump. We could be staring at $130,000, $140,000, $150,000 Bitcoin in the next 2 months, and it wouldn't be anything out of the ordinary for this asset. Am I being a little overly bullish? Yeah, maybe I am. Maybe I am. But when I'm seeing a blue skies breakout, we've touched the resistance once, twice. This is the third time we're hitting on this resistance level, right? You could argue once, twice, 3 times. If with that wick 4 times, 5 times. How many times are the police going to be able to hit our door with the battering ram before that door does come down? And the more times you touch this, the bigger the move is going to be to the upside, because each time you know that shorts came into play in those zones. Hey, what's going on, guys? What's going on? Thank you, everybody, for being here. I hopped on a little early. I had to catch this, man. I had to catch it. I'm gonna be streaming as long as possible, as long as the chat keeps it. We keep the chat active. We keep the requests going. I'll stay on here all night, baby. I'll stay on here all night, or as long as my manager or my lady lets me. My lady lets me. All right, so. Yeah, looking amazing for BTC. I want to see a squeeze here to the upside. That's what we're all waiting on here. Just about $600, $700 off of where the high was today. We'll see if we get that. So far, getting a little bit of a bearish reaction here, but we are coming down to a previous support resistance flip right here in this zone. And is that zone going to hold? Well, we'll have to wait another 20 minutes or so to see. But we are creating on the 1 hour time frame. We're creating on this structure right here. We created a higher high, a higher low, or a lower low. Sorry, lower low, higher high, higher low, higher high. Where's your next higher low likely to come in? At that 618786, so you can pull your fib. And this is on the 1 hour time frame. Where are we likely to bounce? Down here at about 105.3. We bounce from 105.3. Then that will be the area that we could continue up, during the Asian trading market, the hours tonight. That will be over the course of the night. And wouldn't that be ironic, right? Wouldn't that be ironic for Bitcoin to get the pump while Americans are sleeping, right after we pass the most legendary stablecoin bill in the history of our country, the only in the history of our country, the Genesis bill, getting passed yesterday. That is super bullish for the crypto industry space on the macro, not necessarily, right now, but that does open up the doors for a lot of institutions to start dabbling in stable coins and dipping into the crypto market to be able to find some kind of products to make profit for companies that are trading right now in the S&P 500. Super awesome to see. And we can see integration with like Meta, Facebook, Google, all those companies can dabble on into crypto. Super cool to see. Super cool to see from a legislation point of view. That did happen last night. Very interesting. If daily candle is the same size as yesterday's candle, Hat. Oh, what if the daily candle is the same size as yesterday's candle? That'd be awesome, man. That'd be awesome. Yeah. Yeah. If we got, you're talking about like if it was the wick, right? Like if we took this wick, this is a 4% move. If we got a 4% move on the day, we'd be up here at 110,000. It could happen. It could happen, right? But right now, what I'd love to see on the daily is just a clear, flat, bullish engulfing candle. The bears tried, right? The bears tried, and something that I love to do on this channel for those of you guys who are new, and I suspect there's some more people watching right now as Bitcoin search volume is insane right now. I love flipping the chart upside down to give yourself some perspective, right? Give yourself some perspective and flip the chart upside down and pretend, right, just for a moment that this was the 1 minute chart. Would you long this? Like, would you long right here? I mean, you are at key support. This support level cracks, you could be in some serious trouble. Would you long right here? What's the risk if you start cracking beneath this support? Like, if you you could go on a massive drop on the 1 minute, can you not? And, those candles can look like this. They can look like this, right? You can get a massive bounce to the upside. I think we're in for some massive volatility. This all-time high does crack, I am calling for the all-time highs to crack within the next, give it a week. I think this weekly candle is going to do it. I really do. I think this is going to turn into a massive weekly candle. A nice tail has formed on Monday. Not many candles you see without tails. Am I right? You see one right here, but most candles do have tails, baby. Most candles do have tails. I see the bulls picking up here and squeezing these shorts to the upside. Anybody who has their stop losses up here, I encourage, if you are short, I will say this. The dangers of being short right now are relatively high. The risk reward is good. However, if you are planning on putting your stop loss here at 109.8, 110, please exercise caution. I exercise massive caution to you guys for the sole reason that if we do get a squeeze event, right, to the upside, if you're calling, hey, this is the top for Bitcoin, this is it, and it very well could be, right? This could be a double top, and it's a little too early to say. I'm speculating on further continuation to the upside, right? Money printing's coming on into the game. Institutions continue to buy. GameStop just loaded up the other day. MicroStrategy buys thousands and thousands of Bitcoin. What seems like every single week, I think we're going to blast through these highs, and we're going to get to FOMO, baby. We haven't had retail interest. How can you tell? Do you see Bitcoin on the news? Absolutely not. You don't, but you will. You will when you crack 110. You're up here at the highs, and everybody's like, what about Bitcoin? What is it? I don't really understand. You're going to see that in the news. It's crazy. It's crazy. What if both daily wicks... Hey, I appreciate the question, WPJW. What if the wicks are the same size? Well, if you're referring to the upside, right? You could consider that tweezer bottoms, but you'd want to see that, and that's why this could be it could be the top, right? It could be the top. I'm not taking that away from you, brother. I'm not. But the fact that we're so close right now, and there are people that are going to be head short, right? They're going to short the market and think that this is the top. I can't get behind that, right? Not on a daily and a weekly perspective. This candle took out so many longs. What would an exchange do, or what would the whales do before ripping this thing to an all-time high? You would take out all the high leverage plays, and you did that yesterday. Anybody who was above a 25x leverage or greater was not stopped, was liquidated yesterday if you opened at the highs, right? So I think that with that massive move to the downside, and you took out this giant bullish engulfing candle, and you're breaking out of the 4-hour flag, I see more continuation to the upside. I cannot call a top here. I will not call a top here. Is it possible? Absolutely. But, in my mind, this is the greatest asset that we've ever had. And we got a breakout. We fell back inside the pattern, broke out, retest, and now we're, booming further to the upside. I really think the highs are about to be tested, brother. I really do. I wouldn't be looking at that as tweezer bottoms. I couldn't get behind that. Not in this environment right here. Did you have any of that on here? You do have that kind of right here. But it's just with the momentum that we have right now. And what else do I have that's in my favor, right? We do have bear div on the daily. I do acknowledge that. It's slight. But whenever you have bear div on the daily and you defy it, that's when you get those massive squeezes. So when we get that massive squeeze, which is what I'm projecting right here, I think that we could get that. We're gonna be overbought. We're gonna have bear div form. It's just a reality, right? When XRP went on its monumental move from 50 cents all the way to $3, there was bear div the entire time. And what did XRP do? Defied, defy, and continue to pump through that bear div. Whenever you defy bullish divergence or bearish divergence on the daily, an incredibly bullish sign. And what would that mean? It means you would take out this high right here, the wick of the day, before you cranked this, before you took out this low. So yeah, that's what I'm looking at. I wouldn't be calling that tweezer tops. Could it be? Yeah, but we'd have to wait. We'd have to wait for another 2 hours and 12 minutes. And if it was going to be tweezer tops, I would be looking at this. I would want to see this be a red candle, right? If I was a bear, I would desperately want to see this be a red candle. On the daily, a bullish engulfing is nothing to joke around with, especially with the momentum that we're seeing in the space right now. Even on the 3-minute time frame, look at the volatility of this, baby. Look at the volatility of this. We're chop citying, baby. We are chop citying. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough, right? There's so many market makers in the game right now. There's so many market makers in the game that are trying to figure out what's going on here for BTC. You could say that this is a flag here, early flag forming, right? We had that pump up, and now we're just channeling. Let's see if we can get that rip out of this flag. Where would that flag take us? Up to about 108.8. It could definitely happen. I mean, the more we consolidate here over the next few hours, that target does come down. But let's see if we can get out of this. You could say that's a shoulder, head, right shoulder. You failed to break down from that. So that is very, very bullish. When these break out, where do these break out from? They break out the same way as they would to the downside, but to the upside, right? They only break down about 68% of the time, and when they don't, they violently pump to the upside, and that's just on the 5-minute time frame. But very interesting to look at. I think we have some more pumpage to go in the tank here for BTC. Just the amount of short interest that is above us is absolutely crazy. All right, Wanda, I see you with virtuals. I got you. So Bitcoin looking good. I got some alerts set up on here for Bitcoin, so we'll hop on into it on the 1-minute time frame when we do get to that point. If we do get to that point throughout the night, the 15-minute, the 21 is moving with price action. An incredibly bullish sign here for the 15-minute time frame. You're still above, or you fell back beneath that resistance support flip. You did. So I'd like to see that reclaim. Stochastics are getting reset. And what I was going to say, WPJ, is here on the daily. If this was a tweezer top, I'd want to see it paired with some kind of div, right? Some kind of bear div. And right now, like, even though we do have bear div here on the daily, the smaller time frames aren't really agreeing with that. Man, maybe they are. Maybe they are. I'll say this. Anything can happen tonight. I'm macro bull. I'm bullish on this asset. And just because of the glob, everything that in charting is that's trumping me right now. Get it, Trump. But everything that's trumping me right now is this 110K liquidity glob. If we even start touching up in these zones, the amount of liquidations, cascading liquidations we can get to the upside can lead to a massive surge. And for those of you who haven't been in this space for a long time, if you don't think Bitcoin can do 10% candles in just a couple of hours, it can. It will. It has in the past, and it will again. I know we haven't seen that very often for BTC. Did we even get that here? We got about a 10% candle there when we previously broke the highs. When we previously broke those highs, that was a 10% candle. Very rarely do you see 10% candles in these assets at all, right? Bitcoin did pump about 10% on that strategic reserve move and then dumped just like that right after. You can see some massive moves in just a couple of hours. So that's my position, man. I'm long and strong. We're sitting long in our SUI trade. It's about break even right now. Pretty close anyway, I think. Oh, no, SUI getting a little bit of a sell-off. So a little bit underwater there on that SUI trade is what it is, right? But I think the altcoins are about to make a turnaround. Now, I'll dive into that in a little bit. But yes. All right, let's dive on in. Let's talk about the altcoins, baby. Everybody wants to learn about their, hey, yeah, man, yeah. I appreciate you. Learning all you can. Ask any questions, man. There are no stupid questions here. That's what my teachers used to say. And, you'd be surprised at what some of those kids decide to ask. But man, there's no stupid questions in trading. This was tough for me to get into, man. I didn't know what things meant. I didn't know what the 200 MA was. I didn't know what bull div was. I didn't even know how to read these candlesticks. I didn't know what the different time frames meant, how they work together. I didn't know when I was starting, man, and I made cataclysmic mistakes. I made massive mistakes when I was learning how to trade. I did, right? And I just didn't know what I was doing. But now, right, after years, right, I want to say years of failure, but in reality, years of making poor decisions in trading and learning from those mistakes. That's why I'm here on this channel, man, to help you not do that, to use a demo account when you're starting, to absorb the knowledge that I did not have when I started trading and I lost thousands of dollars. That's not what I want to see you do, man. That's not what I want to see you do. And it's totally avoidable. It's totally avoidable if you ask the right questions and you have the courage to ask the questions in the first place. Because if you have the questions, I guarantee you that there are other people that are watching this channel that don't know the answer either. So you're not just answering your question, but you're helping somebody else learn and grow together too, man. So I appreciate you being here, and I appreciate you hopping on into the chat. All right, let's look at virtuals for Wanda. Virtuals, let's dive on into it. Well, before I dive into virtuals, I want to take a peek at one thing. I want to look at Bitcoin dominance, right? I want to take a peeker at Bitcoin dominance. So Bitcoin dominance is currently trading in an area, right? I called altcoin season last night at this wick. We did get a little bit of a pump, currently sitting beneath my call. So that's a good sign. Did get a little bit of a pumpage above. I acknowledge that, but to call the exact top on anything, very difficult. I think we're at the top for Bitcoin dominance here. I expect us to be rolling over sooner rather than later. And I don't think it's going to necessarily happen tonight. I think it's going to happen when Bitcoin chills out, when Bitcoin decides to take a breath. And why do I say that? Man, this gnat, man, it's been in my room for days. I can't get it out of here. Why do I say that? Why do I think it's breaking down? Well, we had a massive bearish engulfing candle here on the weekly, right? And if you're an altcoin holder, you need to see this. You need to see this because this is the difference between your altcoin going to the moon or Bitcoin ripping without you. It's the reality, right? We've been on a 3-year uptrend for Bitcoin dominance. I'm not going to beat a dead horse, but we have this giant inverted cup and handle coming up to the macro 618786 golden pocket Fibonacci retrace. We got the rejection, and then we came out of the golden pocket, right? Where we started rejecting from this macro golden pocket with that weekly bearish engulfing candle. Now zooming in on the daily. In order to change market structure, which we have, right? Which we have higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, low, higher high, lower low. It is imperative for the altcoins that a lower high does come in this zone where we currently sit. In this zone, currently being the 618786 golden pocket Fibonacci retrace. We got above the 4-hour 200 SMA. That gives me some concern. But this zone, this Fibonacci retrace needs to hold here for the sake of the altcoins. If not, you're looking at Bitcoin ripping to 110, 115, and then your altcoin just sitting flat where it is, or maybe pumping 1% or 2. And I'm not saying the market's not going to follow Bitcoin, because it will, but it'll be lackluster pumps. And then when Bitcoin dumps from 115 to 110, your altcoin's going to be beneath where it was when Bitcoin was at 106. And how's that going to feel? Disastrous, right? So we're looking for a move similar to this. We are looking, inverted. We are looking for this giant cup and handle, right, on the 4-hour time frame to come into fruition. Giant cup and handle. Where are you likely to get your bounce in that 618786 golden pocket Fibonacci retrace, right? So let me flip that upside down. This is an inverted cup and handle, right? That's exactly what we want to see here on the 4-hour time frame. We need to reject from this golden pocket zone, currently doing so. That's exactly what we want to see over the course of the next coming days / the next week. If we do not get that, it's likely we come up here and test the highs, and then altcoin season will be put into question. That is for sure. For right now, I'm speculating on this being the next lower high area for Bitcoin dominance before dumping further to the downside. I think we can potentially reach that 786, right, a little further up in the event that Bitcoin does get that monumental squeeze. People are going to FOMO in. They're going to be like, I'm selling my altcoin. I'm getting into Bitcoin. I'm going to ride Bitcoin up, and then I'm going to buy back into my altcoins. It's how it happens every single time. It's how it's happened throughout history, and it's how it will happen again. People are just like that, man. They're going to be like, I'm going to jump on the fastest horse. Right? And it's the reality. What people are going to do when Bitcoin's pumping massively, going through that short squeeze, everybody's going to jump out of their altcoins and jump into long on BTC. And then it's going to be like, oh crap, I got to get in the altcoins. I got to get back in the altcoins. They're starting to pump. They'll rotate their money from BTC into altcoins when Bitcoin starts consolidating after that major move. Money will flow from Bitcoin into the altcoins. It's going to take time. It's going to take time. But right here, I'm speculating on the next lower high coming in for Bitcoin dominance. This is alt season, baby. If it's going to start, it needs to start here. It needs to start here. If we don't get a rejection here and we come up and break these highs, the weekly is going to be on its merry way. And then who knows where Bitcoin dominance will go to? 70, test these highs, break those highs, you got a giant W. That's not something you want to see if you're an altcoin holder. You could be left holding the bag. And wouldn't it be crazy for the suckers of the rally to be the altcoin holders and Bitcoin, like that would go like really crazy. Like all the altcoins, like even you could say Ethereum is a sucker bag right now, right? It's the reality. I mean, I don't want to say it like that, but it's the reality, right? Like people who have held Ethereum, you're kind of feeling like you were left out on this rally. Do you not? You're sitting at $2,500. A 50% off your all-time high, or 100% off. You need a 100% off pump on Ethereum to get to your all-time highs. And Bitcoin is trading at its all-time highs right now. That feels awful. And it feels awful not just in Ethereum, but for altcoins all across the space. All right, but Bitcoin dominance, I'm speculating on that being the first lower high. It has to be. It has to be, right? If you're an altcoin holder, you are essentially praying right now, praying to the crypto lords, that this is your next lower high. Because if you don't get that, Bitcoin's going to steal the show and likely outperform your random altcoin. Despite, it doesn't matter the fundamentals, it doesn't matter what partnerships or what's going on with the coin. If this chart dumps, the likelihood of your coin being outperformed by Bitcoin is 99%. Very, very interesting. All right, so yes, let's dive on into the chat. Wanda, you want virtuals? I appreciate you being patient with me. We'll dive on into Ethereum in a minute. We're going to keep the Bitcoin chart up. We're going to keep dominance. No, we don't need to keep dominance up. All right, let's dive into virtuals. Virtuals, baby. All right, virtuals here. Let's see it. Look at it on the daily. I think that's what we're looking at. All right, so virtuals, I will say this. I think virtuals is going to be a massive player in this space. You have a giant set of hidden bullish divergence coming in here. Higher low, with a lower low formed on your RSI indicator. That is beautiful. You do have bear div that did form right here, but has not been able to get that reaction, so much so that it formed, right? The bears weren't able to sink it low enough to prevent you from forming hidden bullish divergence. So that hidden bullish divergence now takes over and suggests that you're going to crack that $2.21 level before you crack $1.28. I get it. It's frustrating. Virtuals is a little down on the day, but you have to understand that this thing has been one of the major pumpers off the lows. The AI space, 235% from the, not from the exact lows, 300% from the exact lows. And if you got it at the highs, that may even be closer to 400% there for virtuals. Virtuals is going to do some massive damage in this space. Mark my words when I say that, baby. The AI narrative is strong. Now, to hold this, you got to have some sack. Why do I say that? Look at this, right? You got to have, greater risk comes greater reward. And just in a couple of days, virtuals took out, like if you averaged in, right, on the way down, you're probably feeling really, really good about where your virtuals is sitting at the current moment, right? Because the prices you would have got down here, you would have gotten 4-to-1 compared to what your prices would have been up here. If you average the same amount every time, you'd be up massively on your virtuals. Is that the way to go? Virtuals was definitely looking pretty weak, but anything that dumps off massively like this, you can look at the meme coins, you can look at any sector that you want. Anytime you get a massive dump like that, you're going to get a squeeze at some point. It happened for Trump coin. It didn't happen for Melania coin, but you're going to get, or it probably did on the lower time frames, but you're going to get a massive squeeze. Why? Because everybody's going to short this thing, and then what happens? You had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you had a week that liquidated 4 months of bearish price action, a singular week. And what caused that? Was it people buying virtuals? No, it was these people getting liquidated at this high, at this high, at this high. Short squeeze, pump, short squeeze, pump, pump. You pump through those short squeezes until, some actual sellers decide to come in and start taking profits. Who are those sellers? Is it people from up here? No. If I got in at something at $5 and it's trading at 50 cents, am I going to cut my loss? Probably not. These people are likely taking profits now, because unlike these people, these guys are up, 2.5, 3x on your investment, and they can move on to the next thing. So the risk for them is relatively low, right? Comparatively to where you're at. And those are the sellers that are in this space right now. This was the biggest liquidation event in crypto history back here on February 3rd. And you filled through that beautifully. This candle represents that giant liquid. Where's my VRVP? Why is it not loading here? Whoop. VRVP, baby. There we go. Yeah, so you started gapping up through the VRVP. You get above a ball, the ball rolling down the hill scenario. You got your ball. Where are you rolling? You're rolling in the next hill. ball, you rolled in the next hill. You came up to the top right here. You had that one red candle. You stalled at the hill for a day, and then you ball to the next hill. And you pump massively to the next hill. You ball to the next hill, which is where we currently sit. You know, we're going back and forth here for the ball. That ball is going to roll over one of these until it doesn't. This is your main area of support and resistance. You have 165, right? In confluence with the bottom right there. Makes sense, right? And you have your your VRVP high volume node that's sitting up here right at about 195, just above where you are. 21's moving up in the price action. It looks good to me, Wanda. Daily stochastics are reset. I would look at this ball rolling down the hill, Wanda. You roll down the hill again, what happens? Well, this looks like a lot like the rally Sui did have, right? A massive sell-off. You pump, you flag out, pump, flag out, pump, flag out, and you're going to keep doing that until some sellers do step on into the space. What I love about virtuals, there's only 1 billion tokens, baby. There's only 1 billion tokens. And then one of the hottest AI narratives in the game, the leader in the space, so you could argue in the crypto space, I think this thing's going to do some massive damage. I would not be surprised to see virtuals sitting in between $10 and $20 at the end of this run. Just my opinions, though. Not financial advice. Not financial advice. Just my opinions on the market. Come on, Sue, we get up there, baby. 390, nice. All right, let's dive on into the chat. So we looked at virtuals. WTJ, I appreciate you being here. Michaela B, thank you. Hey, remember to smash that like button, everybody. I appreciate you guys being here. Helps me get the stream out to more people, helps me grow, and it's all for free, baby. It's all for free. So I appreciate you guys. Definitely smash that like button. Share it with your friends. Share it with your friends. Whatever you guys can do to get the Boys Crypto word out there, I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. But yeah, so that's what I'm looking at. Wanda wants to take a look at Sui. I will happily look at Sui for you, Wanda. Just want to look at Bitcoin here really, really quickly. Getting a little bounce here on the 5-minute time frame. Yeah, I suspect the flag's going to likely form here. Definitely for sure. You have 1 touch, 2 touch. You've already formed your downward sloping trend line. So yeah, I'd look at this range. We'll keep this range, cooking here as we go throughout the evening, right? This will take us, what, another hour and a half or so? So we'll see how that plays out for Bitcoin, and we'll see if we can get the rip to the upside, baby. We'll see if we can get the rip to the upside. So that's virtuals in a nutshell. We will look at Sui. I do want to know Ethereum right now on the daily. I know a lot of people, I've seen it on X. Real quick for Ethereum. Ethereum historically has been the leader in altcoin season. It historically has, and likely, right, until proven otherwise, is likely going to do the same. We are consolidating on the daily here for Ethereum. You can look at it on the 4-hour time frame, and it looks even a little better, right? A little better here on the 4-hour time frame. Creating a flag. This flag looks to break, and something I noticed earlier. This is a beautiful flag to the upside. Looks like Ethereum wants to go for 3,500, and it could happen very, very quickly based on the extrapolation target of that flagpole. Is this flag connected? No, it's not, but it doesn't have to be. As long as you get a bullish move and you fall into a channel, that is a bull flag, baby. That is a bull flag. What's beautiful is that you have a lot of things going here for you for Ethereum. A, you have hidden bullish divergence. Hidden bullish divergence here. You have a swing across on the RSI indicator, right, while you're swinging up on price action. That suggests to me that you're going to crack, they're going to crack this high before you crack this low. That's bullish, bullish hint number 1 for me, right? Before you crack 1750, I know you're thinking, oh, boy, crypto, that doesn't really say much. Well, it does when you're looking at Ethereum right now sitting at $2,500 when Bitcoin's sitting at the highs, right? Because it wouldn't take anything for this thing to roll over. But continuation in Ethereum is beautiful when Bitcoin is near the highs. Because eventually, if that Bitcoin dominance does start to roll over, that would be immaculate for Ethereum and give Ethereum the opportunity to run. Because during this move back here, when was this move? On May 7th at 1600 to 2000, 1600 or the next day at 2000. So what was that daily here? Daily, we had 3 days of massive pumpage for Ethereum. 45% in the altcoins roared. The altcoins roared. This was back here on the 10th of May, just 10 days ago. Where was Bitcoin during that time? Let's look at it. Whoop. The 10th of May, just 10 days ago. This was that day, right here. This little fart of a candle right here. You see this candle? This was the 10th of May, right here. So when Bitcoin pumped 1%, right? Ethereum, and that was over the course of 3 days, 10 days. 1, 2. No, that was a singular day, wasn't it? Nope. The 9th of May, sorry, the 9th of May. The 8th, 9th, and the 10th of May for BTC. The 8th was this big candle right here. Whoop. This big candle, 9th, 10th. Ethereum rallied 45%. Bitcoin rallied 8%. That is the power of the altcoins. When they do decide to get their squeeze, it could be massive, violent, and aggressive. And Ethereum is gearing up for a very similar move right now, consolidating underneath the bull bear, in my opinion, barrier, right? This is the last line in the sand for Ethereum. You have a beautiful cup sideways handle right here. Giant bull flag forming on the daily. Give it a couple days. Let Bitcoin settle out. Let Bitcoin go sideways, right? And we could get a massive pump for Ethereum back up here to, 3,500. Giant gap in the VRVP supports that short squeeze to the upside in confluence with this giant liquidation event. Look at this gap that has not been filled. That is beautiful. A lot of short liquidation or long liquidations to the downside. The odds of that getting filled are 99% in my book. That looks beautiful for Ethereum. Last thing I'm looking at for Ethereum on the 4-hour time frame, if you guys can notice this right here, as we zoom on in, baby, as we zoom on in. Look at this beautiful, as I'm seeing this right here. This is our channel. Clear downward sloping resistance, and we have a clear support line. What I love seeing right here is this. I'm seeing a shoulder, a head, and a right shoulder start to form here for Ethereum. This is very bullish. This would get us out. In the event that this were to break up to the upside, only 66% probability that this will do this. But in the next, this would be the next, 12 hours. 12 to 24 hours, this shoulder could form out, and we could get a massive pump up to $2,700 for Ethereum, another 10% move. And then that would start the bigger cataclysmic move to the upside out of this bull flag. Looks really, really juicy to me, man. It looks very, very juicy for Ethereum right here. And of course, money's going to flow into Bitcoin first. And then Bitcoin's going to start consolidating, bing-bonging around after it does whatever it wants to do up here. The odds of a massive dump, I think, are relatively low with this daily candle yesterday showing that there's massive buy pressure underneath us. And could we keep going sideways here? The answer is yes. Yeah, absolutely. Why could we not, right? We could continue to go sideways here, form a bull pennant. Bitcoin just slowly grinds up. And then we get the breakout here up to 121. Could that happen? Yeah, and it would take a couple weeks, take potentially till June before we get the breakout. Does anyone want to see that? No, right? But and I don't think that that's the reaction that we're going to get when we get up to this 110K level, right? But it could be a slow grind. Bulls and bears duke it out here. This is previous support, resistance, so it's going to be resistance until it's flipped into support. Interesting to think. Just another idea to keep on your radar. But that is virtuals for you, Wanda. We looked at ETH. We looked at virtuals. Virtuals just looks good. It looks good. It looks good on the daily. The stochastics are ready to go. The 4-hour says it's ready to go here. And even on the 4-hour, you're kind of forming a bigger idea here. Let me look at this. Kind of forming a bigger idea, in my opinion, here on the 4-hour, Wanda. You do have a swing. You have a bit of a symmetrical triangle going on right here. These are 50-50. 50-50, but you got a little bit of a shoulder head, right shoulder potentially forming to push you out of here. Looks juicy to me. Looks really, really juicy to me. And what defines it, what I don't like about this trend line is only have 2 touches. 1, 2, right? So the resistance line definitely has more touches. But yeah, I can definitely see a squeeze for virtuals. Not the prettiest thing in the world, but I think when the altcoins rally, virtual is going to be a massive leader in the space. In my opinion, I think the AI narrative is going to massively take off to the upside. All right, let's look at SUI, baby. Let's look at SUI. SUI, the only leverage trade that we are currently sitting in, got in about $3.99. Is it underwater? Yes. The answer is yes. The answer is yes, it is underwater. It is what it is. We got caught up the other day in this whipsaw price action here, and we long the top, baby. We long the top. But am I concerned? No, I'm not concerned right now, right? This is a macro swing long play for the next leg up and potentially holding for the rest of the bull run. Am I going to be shaken out by a little bit of, cataclysmic price action? No, stops down here at about 349. That wick was scary on the daily just yesterday. Woo! Was a crazy day yesterday in the altcoin market, for sure. But right now, virtuals is looking good to me. Let's look at it on the 4-hour. Let's look at it on the 4-hour time frame. So this is what I was looking at a little earlier. Kind of forming that same idea as Ethereum here. You do have a very clear downward sloping support, downward sloping resistance line. You're pressing on it right now as you speak on the 4-hour. Now, this could be a slow grind, and it's natural that this is a resistance point. You have one touch, twice, 3 times touched. This is the 4th time you're touching this resistance line. Can we come down to the bottom of the band? You know, you could. You definitely could. But what I'm looking at here for virtuals, right, is a potential shoulder. Let me look at it on the 2 hour. Whoop. Shoulder, head, right shoulder right here. If maybe it's on the, yeah, I can still look at it a little better on the 1 hour. I am loving what I'm seeing here for virtuals. Shoulder, head, right shoulder forming, right? A little elongated, a little sloppy, granted, right? But that's the price action that we've been given, and you got to go with what you're given, right? You cannot control the cards you're dealt. You can just control how you play them, and that's how that's how I'm playing this right here. We got above the 1 hour 200 SMA. I'm looking for that to hold and squeeze to the upside for virtuals. I see a move here for virtuals up to about $4.25 sooner rather than later, and that'll spark the bigger move out of this flag, which will take us to our macro target here. The macro target for me on this breakout will be up here around $4.90. Take a breath on SUI. Take a breath on the alts. I think that the alts are likely going to roll over. If Bitcoin's going to do this choppy price action here on the 15-minute, even if Bitcoin's starting to roll over, the altcoins aren't going to pump at that moment. The altcoins are going to pump when Bitcoin is doing some choppy price action, right? Some choppy price action. And by that, I mean like $200, $300 swings. I don't envision this being anything like a Bitcoin dumping massively and the altcoins going on a massive rally like back in 2017. In my opinion, the odds of that happening are very slim to none. Am I taking it off the table? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. But could definitely, it could happen. It would be an anomaly and something that we have not seen much in the past. The last thing I saw do that was XRP. And I don't see a move like that coming anytime soon for that asset or any other asset, in the space. So looks okay for SUI out of the inverted shoulder, head right shoulder here. Looks really, really good. We have to keep in mind, Bitcoin will run and Bitcoin will continue to run the top 100 in the space. So last hour, Bitcoin's red. Most of your top altcoins are going to be red. It's the reality. Though I'm calling alt season right here, alt season isn't going to happen when Bitcoin's taking a nukage on the 15-minute time frame or the 1-minute time frame. You're going to get lackluster pumps and bigger dumps whenever Bitcoin's making a move like this, right? When Bitcoin's falling, your altcoin's likely going to fall harder. Now, because I think this is the top for Bitcoin dominance, and it doesn't have to be, but if Bitcoin dominance continues to roll over the next time Bitcoin catches a move like this, a 1% move, that's when your altcoin can move, 4, 5, 10%, right, on that Bitcoin dominance drop and Bitcoin pumping. That's how alt season works, baby. I want to see this 1 minute reclaimed on Bitcoin very, very badly here. So 15 minutes still tracking with the 21 moving average is still looking good. We could also get this higher low coming on in. A lot of craziness in the charts today. I think the altcoins are going to make a move this weekend or this upcoming week, and potentially even on into the night as Bitcoin dominance does look like it wants to roll over. Let me look at that real quick. So yeah, Bitcoin dominance, this area is key for the alts. And I'm gonna treat it. I'm gonna treat this. Oh my goodness. Why is my VRVP doing that? I was like, why is the point of control showing up like that? All right, so this area right here, this 618786 has to hold. It has to. And for a lower high, this doesn't mean Bitcoin will dump, but this means the altcoins will start getting a little bit of love. If they don't, man, Bitcoin dominance is just a train that we're trying to step in front of. We got to be honest. We're trying to catch the train reversing, right? And we got the train hitting the brakes right here. But is the train going to speed back up? It definitely could. On the weekly, I'm going against my overall macro. I'm not going against my overall macro here because I'm still looking at a macro 618786 retrace. On Bitcoin dominance here. Let me show you guys this. The Bitcoin dominance 618786 golden pocket retrace, and that's why I'm looking for the massive dump. But this is on the weekly. I think it could happen. I think it could happen fast, but it needs to happen here. If we crack up there, we could sweep the highs and take it at 66.1. Would not like to see that, right? I don't want to see the 786 touch. The risk of coming up here, and I'm just saying that because it would scare me. I'm not going to lie. It would scare me, baby. It would scare me getting that pump up here. What would happen to the altcoins, whether they just trade sideways and Bitcoin runs to 115? Likelihood relatively low, baby. Relatively low if we do get up to the 786. Could we reverse from there? Absolutely. But with that weekly bearish engulfing, I think it's got to happen now. I really do think it has to happen now for Bitcoin dominance. That rollover, baby. Let's see if we can get it. But yeah, rollover, fall beneath the 4-hour 200 SMA, fall beneath the 3, and start playing 200 MA dominoes to the downside. That's how it's going to work until we come down and test that daily 200 SMA, and then we roll, baby. We roll, and we break this monumental 3-year uptrend that Bitcoin dominance has been in. Bitcoin has surely taken over this space over the past 3 years, and I think this thing could definitely crack to the downside, especially with that inverted cup and handle rearing in our faces on the daily and on the weekly. Yes, and Nasty Kid, I hear you, brother. I hear you. Hey, I did see H-bar, man. H-bar was doing all right, wasn't it? H-bar. Let's see. That was the alpha play yesterday. Still sitting at about where you would have entered, man. Still sitting about where you would have entered. Beautiful support resistance retest right here. You're getting that bounce on the daily. Looks good to me. It still looks good to me. And we left, where did I leave you off yesterday? Probably up in this zone. Yeah, you're probably right about where you entered. If you did get into that long. Inverted shoulder, head, right shoulder here for H-bar. Shoulder, head, right shoulder for H-bar. Breaking above, coming back. Support resistance flip. High volume node in confluence with a beautiful daily candle right here. Stochastics resetting, looking to curve violently to the upside. No bear div. Higher low. Coming into a 618, 786 golden pocket Fibonacci retrace. I can't think of another bullish indicator to give you for H-bar. To me, that's one of the hottest setups in the game right now. H-bar on the macro looks immaculate from not just a macro, but a micro perspective as well. I think these are some of the best prices that you're going to get for H-bar, period. Period, baby. You have a giant gap in the VRVP to support a squeeze to the upside. There's nothing else that I could say to be like, oh, but this. But there's no but this. You're at a higher low, 618, 786, golden pocket Fibonacci retrace, a previous support resistance flip out of a bullish reversal pattern on the macro, inverted shoulder, head, right shoulder, coming down and retesting that resistance. There's nothing. There's no bearish signs. And I never say that. Have you guys ever heard me say that? Where I say there's no bearish signs? To me, there's no bearish signs. You could say, oh, on the weekly, this is a higher high or a lower high. And then we're coming to a lower low. And you could say that. But with the way the market's looking right now, I wouldn't be willing to bet it. You could say that that's a 618 on the weekly, but looking on the daily, looks hot to me. Looks hot to me in every way, shape, and form, baby. Every way, shape, and form. H-bar looks good. H-bar looks good. H-bar only 1 out of 6. Oh, brother, I'm sorry. Hey, yeah, but yesterday, I promise you, Synastic Kid, I promise you, brother, that everyone got worked. I got worked, brother. I longed the top. I longed the top just the other day. Or was it yesterday? No, it wasn't yesterday. It was the day before. I longed Sui at like 390.99. I longed up here, bro. At like, or not up here, at 399. Disastrous. Disaster, right? That's not what I wanted to do. That wasn't what I intended to do. But I ended up longing the top. Happens to the best of us, man. It happens. It happens. It's okay. We move on. And we move forward. On to the next one, man. On to the next one. So on the micro here, we did, shift market structure, higher, high, higher, low, higher, high, higher, low, or lower. That was a little bit of a lower high. But on the micro, right, since about 8 o'clock this morning, higher, high, higher, low, higher, high. Where's our next likely higher low coming in for Sui? Be right here. Be right here at about 384.25. 384.25. That'd be the next likely higher low. Are you going to get that deep in the retracement? It depends on if Bitcoin decides to pull back. Bitcoin starts ripping, some of these alts could go absolutely bananas. They really can, especially alts that are sitting on tested resistance right here on these big flags. And I'll say this about the alts, and I'll say this one time. If Ethereum makes a 10% move on the day, if Ethereum breaks out of its flag, your altcoin will likely follow. And your altcoin will follow very fast, vigorously, and likely more aggressively than Ethereum, for sure. Of course, there's going to be winners and losers. And in order to see if your coin is doing well compared to Ethereum, what can you do? Well, Sui.eth. You can, or BT, yeah, like BTC.eth if TradingView supports it, right? You can see Ethereum Bitcoin or ETH Sui. Can you do that? I don't know. You see ETH Sui. Okay, no, you can't. Oh, that's by what in the world? Let me get out of that. That's going to confuse me and my autism. But yeah, so you can see your asset compared to other things, Sui BTC. Like, how's it looking on the day, right? Today, Sui is, Sui's up 0.5% on BTC. So if I had $100,000 in Sui at the beginning of the day and I had $100,000 in Bitcoin, I would be up today on Sui. So that's looking good. What I really like for Sui right here on the dominance, I'll share this with you too, Wanda. There's a couple things going. A, we bounced off the daily 200 SMA. We're in a bull flag. We do have a little bit of bear div. Acknowledged. We're bouncing off of that 200 MA, and that's also in confluence with what? You guessed it, 618786 golden pocket Fibonacci retrace. You came down to the 706, and you got out of there. Now you're trading above the daily 200 SMA that got tested almost to the dollar here today. I think Sui looks good where it is. If you're looking to buy the lows, it takes sack. It takes sack. All of us know that. It takes massive sack, right? But what we're trying to do is catch those lows in the highest probability areas, because what does that do? It gives us the highest risk to reward potential in the trade setups that we give out now. And for those of you guys who do not follow me on X, I highly recommend it. At BOYCECRYPTO102, you can see everything that I'm doing with my money, my trades, and the setups that I'm looking at in the game. And I'll keep you updated 24/7. Shoot me a message on there if you guys don't know who I am or whatever. Or if you guys want a second set of eyes on your trades, I'm literally always in front of my computer, and I'm always in front of the charts. Just ask April, baby. Just ask April. Yeah, so feel free to shoot me that text, and I'll look at it, whatever trade you guys want to. This is what I do. It's my passion, what I do for a living. It's a pleasure to be here and do this with you guys every single night, as many nights as I can here on YouTube. Thank you, King Hell. Definitely. Wow, that's strong, man. That's strong. But yeah, no, I'm happy in a relationship, man. Didn't expect that. Just going over the charts, just going over what I believe is going on in the market, man. No sense for negativity here. No sense for negativity. Oh, it's very quiet. Oh, the stream. You guys think it's quiet? It may be quiet. I could bump up the volume, man. All right, I'll give it a little bump there, a little bump, maybe a little better. But yeah. Looks good for BTC right now overall on the macro. We are still doing creating higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. And, I think the squeeze could come anytime. I don't think a squeeze to the all-time high is really likely until we get about, another 2.5, 3 hours, from now, because of where the markets sit right now. U.S. markets are closed, Asian markets are closed, and we're going to need some massive, liquidity injection in order to get Bitcoin to continue right on its rampage to the upside. Because the higher the Bitcoin price is, the more money that needs to get injected into it to be able to move the same percentages, right? And to crack these highs, even though you're sitting at liquidity up here, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough without the market makers. The market makers aren't going to be in the game usually until the institutions are in the game, and that's going to be during the Asian market open. I don't like how this candle is kind of forming out here. I want to see in the next hour. I would love to see a bullish engulfing candle on the day. Indecision doji as we stand, but yesterday was one of the strongest candles I've ever seen in Bitcoin history. Getting that massive hammer candle back to the upside, despite it being red, it did prove that there are bulls layered in this space ready to buy up this asset before it goes and cracks new highs. I believe new highs are on the horizon. I don't think a steeper pullback really is in play, especially after we've broken out of this massive flag here on the 4-hour time frame. A lot of Chop City yesterday, liquidating all the longs before we go on the move. It looks good to me. It looked good to me yesterday. And this is all on my X for you guys to see. It looks juicy. Looks very, very juicy to the upside, baby. To the upside for BTC. Drop your coins in the chat, whatever you guys want to go over, baby. I appreciate it. Oh, you said quieter. Oh, dude. Okay. Hey, much love, man. Thank you for hopping on into the chat. You know what I read that as? My eyes are a little bad, man. A little bad. Not bad. I'm just kidding. But I read that as queerier. It was like definitely queerier than the other channels, and that's the only thing I read from you, man. And I was like, do I sound like that? I was like, do I sound like that? Do I sound like? Oh man, I wish I had like a cylindrical object. Do I? Okay, that was kind of gay. But I don't know if I'm allowed to say that on YouTube. But shout out to all my heterosexual and homosexual friends that are on here. But I definitely read that to queerier, man, as queerier. That's super funny, man. No, I appreciate you dropping the feedback, man. Yeah, I don't know if I'm quiet or if unless you guys say something. So I appreciate it. The plus next to the ticker name and add another coin to the chart. Yeah, dude, I definitely read that as queerier. Okay, cool. I got you. All right. Zooming on through the chat. Hey, I want to give a shout out to everybody that is here hopping on into the chat on this crazy day. WPJW, Michaela, Wanda, April, as always, Robert, thank you for being here. King Hell, thank you. You're an absolute legend, man, for hopping on into the chat and dropping your feedback. Sin Nasty Kid, as always, glad to see you, brother. MH, thank you, brother. I appreciate you being here. All right, let's see. All right, so we went XRP, baby. XRP for Sin Nasty Kid. I'm going to be working my way down the line, baby. Drop your altcoins in the chat. Drop your altcoins in the chat. All right, let's go. I can't believe I thought that said queer, dude. I was like, do I have, do I have those vibes? Do I have those? I don't want to give off those vibes to people. But, like, do I? Like, I was like, no, it couldn't possibly mean. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Right, like we have a couple in the no, I'm not even gonna talk about that. Can't even talk about that. All right, shh, hush. All right, so XRP. I'm not gonna lie to you guys for the XRP holders, and I have to say this. We've been bringing up XRP pretty often on the channel over the past couple of weeks, and we talked about this level 242 actually for the past month or so. I think ever since here we talked about this level at 242. Being so important here on the chart. And I'm going to pull up another chart that I looked at for XRP that is particularly concerning, and I'm not bearish on I'm not talking about, the macroeconomics of it all. I'm not talking about the institutional adoption or anything like that, because a partnership forms tomorrow, you know what I mean? Like you could get a massive squeeze. It is what it is, right? That's something that TA really cannot look at, right? You could say, show me the chart, show me the chart, show me the news, but then, a random partnership announcement, and you're going to get some kind of pump/dump off of liquidity, and it gets kind of hairy, right? So I'm not talking about Brad Garlinghouse, Ripple, the team, or what they're doing, or my independent opinions on XRP and how I view the asset. However, from a technical analyst point of view, if you are an XRP holder, you need to understand the severity of the position that you are in right now on the charts. $2.42 is your high volume node. For the past 4 times you've reclaimed the node, that node has stuck up, right? And every time that you have touched $2.42, you've had severe selling pressure to the downside, currently sitting underneath that high volume node at about 242 and pinned between what I believe are 2 of the most leading indicators for whether you can look at a chart as bullish or bearish on the macro timeframes. You're pinned in a 10% zone. Less than that, what, 10%? Let me see this. A zone that has a margin of error at 10%. You don't have much outside of it. Above you, you have the high volume node where bears have continually stepped on into the space and sold on you, right? And then at the bottom, right, you have the bullish daily, the daily 200 SMA that is screaming in your face that, hey, this is support, right? And when one of these levels cracks definitively and you close the daily candle, and this one looked good. We did take a scalp back here on the 13th, and we got some massive juicy gains in XRP on that wick, and we got out of it. And I'm glad that we did. I'm very glad that we did, because that would have been a trade that would have gotten absolutely washed, right? We were in and we were out on that scalp. XRP is in a critical zone here. If you're looking at XRP, you have to understand that you could look at this as an upward sloping trend line. The moving averages are relatively close. And, you have a downward sloping. Man, you could take this as a trend line retest, maybe. But I wouldn't be using trend lines in the area where you currently sit for XRP. Yeah, you could say that it's a breakout retest, sure. But to me, it all depends on whether you can get above this high volume node or not. And so far, the bulls have not proven that they've been able to do that. Let me show you something for XRP that's actually going to... Is the main mic on? Hold on, brother. Hey, hold on. I got you. All right, how's that? That should be... Oh, yeah. Okay, I was going to say, nobody else has said that so far. I appreciate you putting that on my radar, man. All right, but yeah, I can mess with it here on OBS if it doesn't working out. But if everybody's saying that's all right, yeah, we're riding. I got the audio input. Yeah, we're good, and we're on my microphone for sure. Okay, cool. But USB, XRP pinned between the high volume node and this upward sloping support line in the daily 200 SMA. It's do or die. You close a singular full body candle above this zone, you're going to pump massively for XRP. You will. But something that people are not tracking, and I just have great concern for the XRP community right now, and I hope this thing breaks out to the upside. I want it to. I have family vested in this thing, and there's a lot of people in this game right now that are heavily in this asset. And some of them is your entire portfolio. Look at these gaps in the VRVP based off the move that you had here in November. Massive. The downside risk is cataclysmic. Why? Because there's no proof that there's any buyers besides this wick right here, which was a capitulation wick, right? Whenever everybody got liquidated, the whales bought it up. Sure, I get that, right? But that also coincided with the Bitcoin move. You have key levels of support that are down here, but they're so far away from where you currently are. And, you know, you could argue all the previous lows, but if you break that trend line, you really have nothing to go on underneath that. There's too many lines on the chart. Oh, my goodness. So you have this area of support right here, in my opinion. This area of support. You have the prior low. You have the daily 200 SMA. And then look how far these things are away from each other on the macro. You break one or two supports, you're going 23% down, 35, 47. And for those of you who don't think it can happen, for those of you who don't think XRP could fall off just as fast as it did, I encourage you to look at the chart from 2017. A 72% down draw for the number 4 cryptocurrency. Is that going to happen? I'm not saying that it is, but I'm saying that these levels have not been tested yet. These levels have not been tested. Oh my gosh, so many lines. The levels between here and here have not been tested for XRP. That's for true. That's the truth. And let me show you the chart that concerns me. I want to say this to the XRP army. I want to show you guys this. And I'm not saying to get out of XRP. If you guys really believe in it, these may be some of the best prices. You're pinned into a zone where you may pump massively out of here. I'm not saying you're not going to. XRP dominance is terrifying right now. To me, you are, and there's no doubt about it. You are on a massive shoulder, head, right shoulder on the daily time frame, in my opinion. In my opinion. Shoulder, head, right shoulder here on the daily time frame. You have your shoulder, you have your head, and you have your right shoulder. Dumping as we speak to the downside. The measured move says that XRP is going to lose about 1% of its market cap dominance. That coincides right here. This would be a monumental move, a monstrous move, about 29% to the downside for XRP dominance. To put that in a dollar perspective, that's about $1.33. Where does that... Or no, that's not $1.33. Where are you at? $2.40? So that's about 80 cents. That'll put you down at $1.66. What does $1.66 coincide with? And that's if the market doesn't, doesn't make a massive parabolic run. In the event that we just go sideways, XRP could potentially bleed here down to this high volume. That high volume node is your next level of support. It would coincide perfectly with XRP dominance. And I don't want that to happen. But I definitely wouldn't be averaging into XRP here. I'll tell you that. And you got to wonder, this thing's already up 3x from the lows. What happens to when these altcoins start going on a massive run? And are the coins that have already went on a massive tear gonna get a massive tear as well? Or are all the retail gonna fear of missing out, FOMO on XRP and other assets? That's gonna drive the price down as well as Ripple selling every single month on people, which is my biggest complaint about the XRP asset, and the Ripple team and what they do. But it's interesting. Now, bullish sign for the bulls. Shoulder, head, right shoulder, head, right shoulder. Clear resistance line above you. First thing you got to clear is that high volume node at 242. You clear this, you could go back to the highs for XRP. And I am so on the fence about this thing right now. Right, as far as to whether I'm bullish or bearish, and the entire bias is going to be this. The entire bias, not even bias, my trade ideas wrap around these areas for XRP. Breakout, retest, and move. That's what we got in on this wick, and we took a scalp to the upside. Breakdown, retested the daily 200, and boom. That's it for XRP. To me, right here in this zone, no trade zone to me. No, thank you. No, sir. I'm not touching this thing with a 10-foot pole, baby. I would not touch it. If you're looking for lower prices, right? If you're looking for the best prices on XRP, I still wouldn't touch it, right? Because if you drop down here, you could get some juicy XRP down at $1.70, potentially lower. What's your downside if you get the pump here and you retest that high volume node, that key point of control? Hardly anything. What? 2% move? To be sure that you have that level of support underneath you for continuation to the upside, I would risk 1% for that. Absolutely. Just something I want to keep on your radar. Yeah, Sin Nasty Kid, that statement is very, very true. And I will always flash the warning on XRP on this channel. I will. There's a lot of channels that monetize XRP hype and hopium, and it is one of the biggest slaps in the face, in my opinion, to the crypto industry. Do I think it could do well? Absolutely. It's not going to 10,000. It's not going to 100. I'll put the Boys Crypto Trader stamp on those prices. It will not get there. It will not get there this cycle. Potentially in future cycles, when Bitcoin's trading at like, $1 million, $10 million, where I believe it will go over the course of time. Not now. Not anytime soon. Can it go to $5-8? Yeah. You get out of here, you retest this high volume node. Could it go? Yeah, absolutely. Can Ethereum retest the highs? Absolutely. Do I think XRP is going to get to $100? No, I would bet everything. I'm not going to say that. But, I would give it a 99.9999% probability that it will not. And for those people who think you can, just be careful what you read on social media. Do your research. There's people that have tens of thousands of followers that are following this asset, questioning right now why it's not pumping with Bitcoin, that have no clue, that don't understand how Bitcoin's at an all-time high and XRP isn't. Just caution I want to exercise to the space. Much love, much love. All right. I'm trying to catch up on the chat. If I miss anything, drop it again, guys, because I don't have a moderator, baby. I don't have a moderator, so I got to go through. All right, cool. The main mic is on, King Hell. Much love. I appreciate you, brother. Cool. Okay, cool. All right, MH wants to go into Quant. Quant is really interesting. If I had to make a metaphor for Quant, it would be this. Quant aims to be, this looks juicy, baby. This looks juicy. I can't believe I read that as queerier. Now whenever I say juicy, I'm like, does that sound gay? Does that sound query? Right? I'm like, I have it going on subliminal. I don't want to sound query. Nothing wrong with that, but I'm just, I don't, the bat does not swing that way. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. But yeah, interesting. I can't believe I read it like that. It has me messed up in my mind. I'm like, you know how you guys are when somebody's like, no, you're gay. Oh, I'm not gay. No way, I'm not gay. I'll prove it to you. I'll do anything to show you that I'm not gay. Right? I don't even know if I can say this stuff on YouTube, man. I don't know. It is what it is. But please don't report me. Shout out to any of the homosexuals out there. Shout out to you guys. I love people of all kinds, races, sexes, creeds, anything, religions, whatever. Right? Everybody's accepted here. All right, enough of that. Quant looks beautiful to me where it currently stands. Right? You are above the daily 200 SMA, golden cross approaching. This is lifer vision, baby. This is something I learned from Sam Price in the Crypto Lifer. He is an absolute legend in this space. If you guys don't follow him, hop on over there, give him a follow, man. He streams in the mornings. I do not stream in the mornings. You can learn a metric butt ton from that guy. And I watch him almost every morning too. Honestly, he's a great trader, and it provides a great environment for not only learning but great setups in the game. My ideas are my ideas alone, and I don't necessarily agree on everything that he says. However, he does have this tactic that I think is super awesome on the macro. He talks about the 21 moving average, which I have here, right? I have the 21 and the 200, the same indicators that he has there on his chart most days on the 1 minute time frame. But on the macro, the 21 coming up in the price action after you've had consolidation above a major level, that major level being that daily 200 SMA. The 21 will come up on it into the flag, right, with price action and support you on your monumental move to the upside, much as it has here, right? 21 moves with price action, 21. It's so important. So when that 21 breaches on into the flag, right, just as it, holds you down, you crack that daily 200, you're going to the downside, you're rejected by the 21, the 21, the 21 held down, got back above, rejected, 21, the 21, and then you got above it, support. This thing is your best friend. It's your best friend, baby. Yeah, so boom, it looks really, really good here for Quant. Being above the daily 200 SMA, Quant is the cell phone. Quant is the cell phone between crypto assets. It aims to bridge. Ooh, you guys hear that puberty in there? It aims to bridge. It aims to bridge and communicate and serve as a communication layer between other cryptos so that blockchains can build on top of other blockchains and integrate and work on projects together despite being different technologies. I think this thing has massive potential in the space. I like the white paper. I like the team. I like that it's scarce. And if you don't know if it's something scarce, you could always come on over, look at your coin here on CoinMarketCap. CoinMarketCap, baby. This is one of the hottest things in the game, man. I love this thing. It tells you everything you want to about your coin. Where's Quant currently sitting? Woo! Crazy how everything in the top 100 looks exactly like the Bitcoin chart, does it not? Or, not today. Bitcoin dominance is screaming. Let's look at Quant here real quick. So over on the left-hand side of your screen, you can see all the details about Quant. I love it. Circulating supply, most of it is out, 81%. You're going to have unlocks. It's a reality. All tokens have this. Pretty much all tokens have this. Sui has it. XRP has it. Ethereum doesn't have it, right? It has a circulating supply, but it has infinity for supply. So does Solana. It is what it is. It is what it is, right? But some coins that I favor have a max supply. There is a max supply of Quant. That means there's a scarcity aspect of it, and I love that, baby. I love that about Quant. And it aims to bridge and unite all cryptos together for the same, for technological advancement, which is currently what the US government wants. They want us to be the leader in the cryptocurrency space. So if Quant can prove to the government, right, or to, any big institution that it has the potential to do this, right, to help other projects work layer upon layer, layer 2s work with layer 1s, other layer 1s from other chains, that could be so bullish for the space. It could be so bullish. Just speculating there, though. Just speculating. But the charts do seem to agree that Quant looking for a daily reversal out of the inverted shoulder, head, right shoulder. Shout out to all you guys just joining me on here in the channel. Thank you for being here. Drop your coins in the chat. I would love to go over your favorite altcoin today, baby. Your favorite altcoin, drop it on in the chat, and I will get to it as fast as I can. But I hit everything with a little bit of detail. You guys know this, so hey, I appreciate you guys. Market's looking spicy tonight, baby. Spicy in the span. I'm telling you guys, in an hour we could be at the all-time high. Like for where Bitcoin currently stands, where's BTC? Let me get rid of H-bar here. BTC currently sitting at 106.5. And we are $1,000, less than $1,000, $700 off of the high of today, right? $700. Look, it could be 5 minutes. We're getting to a point of FOMO, everybody, and that's why I talked earlier. Look at this. The price action is absolutely gorgeous. 618-786 golden pocket Fibonacci, 618 bounce to the upside for BTC. This will be the next bigger move. This is the next higher low, and we've been doing it all. I'm not gonna curse on it. Effing day. You know what they say, right? Higher low, higher low, higher low, higher high created. We are creating higher highs and higher lows. Higher highs, higher lows this entire way up. And this could be a massive parabolic move. The blow off top, not the blow off top, but the massive move comes when we get to 110, about the region between 109 and 110,000, where every bear in this game right now has their stop loss. Those stop losses get hit, we'll have a massive capitulation event, highly likely, of liquidations to the upside and FOMO in the space to get in on into this asset before it does a run like it did back here in November. We are on high alert, everybody. What is it? Who says that? Who says that? Hold on, let me think. I'm on high alert here. Oh, I got you guys. Mr. and Mrs. Smith, right? When I think his name is Jerry, the friend of Mr. Smith, he's hiding out there. Mrs. Smith is looking for him and everything. He's hiding out, sleeping on the couch. And his mom's upstairs and and knocks over, and yells down, knocks something over, yells down to him, and he cocks the shotgun. He's like, Mom, we're on high alert here. That's where we're at right now on the Bitcoin chart, baby. We are on high alert looking for the all-time highs potentially for Bitcoin. Does it have to happen? No. Can it happen? We're making higher highs and higher lows back up to the highs here that we did put on in here earlier today, or on Sunday. We did wake up to this level. So we've been putting in higher highs, higher lows, or higher lows, higher high, higher low, not even higher low. Yeah, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. And we're making higher lows on the micro time frames, baby. Shout out to all my micros out there. I understand. I feel for you guys. I get what you're going through. Sid Nasty Kid, I know you've reached out to me about this on Twitter. We're going to get through it together, but I'm just kidding. None of that is true. We are not micro in here. We are not micro here either. Shout out to you guys. Shout out to all the micros if you guys are out there. Shout out to you guys. All right, that was a little awkward. All right, diving on in. Hey, thank you, Carol, for being here. My mom, shout out to Carol, Boys Crypto's mom. Thank you for being here, Mom. My mom is heavily invested into crypto. She is in the game. She has her skin in the game with us, everybody. She's not just here for the entertainment or to watch her, her son do his thing. She is vested in this market, baby. So is a lot of my family, man. So is my brother. So is my so is my brother. So is my uncles. A lot of my family in this thing. This asset class is truly beautiful and something that I think can change everyone's lives that is currently here on this live stream. Thank you for being here. There's a lot to learn from this channel. I learn more every single day. You guys teach me stuff. This is a great community to be a part in. I appreciate you guys being in here soon. All right, let's dive on in. Down the wire, baby, we hit Quant. Quant looks so good. The daily setup, shoulder, head, right shoulder, potentially veering here. Reset stochastics. No daily bearish divergence. Look at that. Quant looks hot. Over the daily 200 SMA with the lifer vision out of the flag, potentially here for continuation to the upside. That has a monumental target, a monstrous target here for Quant. And you know what? I wouldn't be surprised. That lines up with where your 786 golden pocket bearish retracement for your next lower high. That is exactly, I would take profits here at the 618 just prior to the 618, end up here at the 786 just prior to the 786. I would definitely keep those levels on your chart at about 120, at about 127, and up here at about 147 for potential resistance zone. That doesn't necessarily have to be it. The measured move takes you all the way past the 786. Do we have to get this measured move? Absolutely not. But that inverted shoulder, head, right shoulder looks juicy for Quant. It's going to take, I'll say it over and over again. It takes SAC to get in at the lows, everybody. It takes SAC to get in at the lows. But the biggest returns on your investment, right, are going to come when you get into things when there's no belief in the altcoins right now, right? For the XRP holders, you guys relate to this. There was no faith in XRP for what, 5 years? And then they won the lawsuit, and they get in the White House with Brad Garlinghouse and everything, and that thing ripped to Valhalla. You had a 6x in just a month when all the rest of the altcoins are sitting at bear market lows. So you guys know that feeling. You guys know how it felt to hold XRP at 50 cents. And I wasn't in that category. I have some XRP on a ledger, but it is not even more than 1% of my entire crypto portfolio. However, that made some of the best gains so far of this big move that we've had. And XRP, that's something about the charts as well. XRP is an outlier, right? A lot of the alts are sitting at their lows, but we have to acknowledge that total 3 is what? Majority XRP, because XRP has taken over as the leader in the total 3 cryptocurrency market space. Everything outside of Bitcoin and Ethereum and Tether, obviously, right? Very interesting to see. All right, let's dive on down here. Hey, thank you everybody for being here. You guys are absolutely crazy not crazy. You guys are absolutely awesome for hanging out here with me tonight. You guys are legendary. Yeah. Yes, and there's valid concerns for sure on XRP, and those risks are there. But without great risk, great risk comes great reward, right? You could argue Bitcoin's risky. The public still thinks Bitcoin's risky. The public thinks altcoins are risky. But the risk to reward, I think, on XRP is relatively low comparatively to a lot of the other altcoins in the game that are looking to pump out of this daily 200 SMA. For the first time, getting that monstrous move to the upside. And the reason I have fear, right, you guys can rewind it in the stream, but XRP dominance this chart is dangerous. It's dangerous right now. Like this chart suggests, and you're on the 200 MA right now. If you don't hold this today, tomorrow, and the next day, like that's a shoulder, head, right shoulder, right? You're out of it could have been a flag that kept you up to the upside. Shoulder, head, right shoulder, looking to dump downward. XRP could lose. It could lose 1% of the market cap. And that doesn't mean XRP is going to dump. No. It does not mean XRP is going to dump. But it suggests that if the rest of the market pumps, it suggests that XRP may be lackluster in comparative to some of the other coins in the game. That's all this chart is saying. I'm not calling for an XRP dump unless we break the daily 200, right, on the chart, the daily 200 SMA on the XRP chart. But the shoulder, head, right shoulder does suggest to me that even over the past couple of weeks, and XRP holders know this, right? You're sitting at 242 while Bitcoin's at the highs. All the altcoin holders know this. You're sitting at the all-time highs for Bitcoin, and your coin's not at the all-time highs. I can't think of another coin that's at the all-time highs besides Bitcoin right now, right? Bitcoin dominance is screaming, and it's just a reality where we're at right now. Shoulder, head, right shoulder, XRP dominance, not price dominance, looking to lose about 1% if we do crack this inverted shoulder or shoulder, head, right shoulder to the downside, right? Doesn't mean it's going to dump, but may have a lackluster pumps comparatively to everything else in the next run to the upside, which may be over the next couple of months, right? I called alt season last night, everybody. I called out alt season last night on the live. I stick by that. I think that that prediction is going to fester into one of the best plays that we've ever had here on this channel. You guys remember when we were getting into the altcoins? You guys know what altcoins I'm in, baby. We got Sui, we got Render, we got Virtuals, we have Ondo, my top 4 holdings, baby, my top 4 holdings. Yeah, so where were we getting into those altcoins? Where were we averaging into altcoins? Down here in our box of remembrance, which has not moved ever since that we've been averaging in. And this looks beautiful. We're getting above the daily 200 SMA, currently serving as a support as the 21 does come into price action, retesting, potential retest here. We could still go a little lower of the inverted shoulder, head, right shoulder, very similar to what H-bar is looking like right now. H-bar is one of the hottest charts in the game. Sin Nasty can put that on our attention the other night. H-bar, one of the hottest charts in the game right now. I couldn't see a singular bearish thing about H-bar right now or concern that I have to the I don't. You are sitting at the perfect buy zone for H-bar right now. You know, I got to put that on everybody's radar. H-bar is the hottest buy tonight, right now, not financial advice. But if you're going to get into a coin or you're looking to open up a leverage position tonight, I highly recommend you look at H-bar. All right, diving on in. That's what I'm seeing. Okay, so total crypto market cap, right? All of these coins are going to be heavily influenced by what? XRP. Because outside of Bitcoin and Ethereum, XRP is the third biggest cryptocurrency that we do have in the space. So the moves XRP has relatively weighs on the market a little more. And since XRP's had some lackluster pumps comparatively to a lot of the other altcoins in the space over the past couple of weeks, it's forced us down to the daily 200 SMA. We want to see this hold as support. If XRP could get above that high volume node, which is exactly what we want, right? If XRP could get above this high volume node, or not this high volume node, but that'll push total 3 above this high volume node right here, and we could be off to the races. Macro reversal call for the altcoins. Shoulder, head, right shoulder on the daily, pushing up, making a higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. Where'd that higher low come in? I'm glad you guys asked. For those of you who watch this channel, you guys already know. We came down. Oh man, I got to front ran it right there. No, we didn't get it at 618, but we got pretty close. A little bit of a front run right there. So it looks good. Reset stochastics on the altcoins suggests that sellers are out of momentum, baby. We are looking for a pump a lamp. We're looking to what's that guy? One guy in Europe. He's like, we're looking to pump. We're looking to pump to the upside, right? I think that's like Arnold Schwarzenegger, like Austrian accent. I don't know. But yeah, inverted shoulder, head, right shoulder to the upside looks very, very likely here for the altcoins. You know, and I was trying to dive on in and see what got us out of here last time, and it was the invalidation of this regular shoulder, head, right shoulder, and we invalidated that. You know, the whales scooped it up, and we went on a cataclysmic move to the upside, even on the weekly. You break that you break that 200 SMA, that shows my point right there. You could get in and get out, right? You get beneath, you get in, you get out, you get in, get out. It is what it is. Get in, get out, or put stops beneath the prior lows, which wouldn't have been hit on these events right here. However, there's going to be a time where you get in above the daily 200 SMA and you're going to have a move like this. And that one time is gonna outweigh all the 1-2% losses that you have in here for the major move to the upside. And that was a 100% move to the upside for your average altcoin. Now, I know what you're thinking. My altcoin didn't run 100%. Bitcoin, baby, Bitcoin running here on the 5-minute time frame. I just took a little peek up at the upper right-hand corner of my screen. We've only traded above here about 30 minutes throughout the course of the last day, squeezing to the upside. Let's get those shorts. Let's see if we could get this 1.618 Fibonacci golden pocket extension up to $108,000 to 5-minute. Looks to rip. We can see it here on the 1 minute, getting above that daily, or that 1 minute 200 SMA to the upside. I know I'm kind of all over the place right now, everybody, but I'm trying to keep tabs on Bitcoin and what it is doing right here. Let's hop on over to the bubbles. Is anything really popping out to us? You know, in the past 15 minutes, we've got a lot of love here in the space, baby. We got a lot of love. Ondo, ENA, WIF, Virtuals, Trump Coin, Fartcoin screaming to the upside. Looks good in just the past 5 minutes. Those ones are screaming as well. Come on, Sui, baby. Get that pump. Get that pump. But look at this. This is a monumental move for BTC. Let's see if we can get the pump a lump here, baby. Let's see if we get the pump a lump and squeeze past that high. I would love to see that here on the stream. Robert says max 5.5 for XRP. I think, yeah. I think 5 to 8, right, in the event that we do get the sustained altcoin rally, is a very fair price for XRP. And I'm not just saying that. I'm not just saying that, right? I have proof. Technical proof, baby. So from the swing high to the swing low of this range, right, after this mega move that we had to the upside, the 1.618 and the 2.618 sit where? At 4.5 and about 6.31. Now, if we're really bullish, we can extend up here to these targets up here at that 4.236. Very rarely do you see assets do that. I would not bet the farm on it. 4.5 looks likely. 2.618, the 2.618 at about 631, I think is very, very likely in the event that XRP, the first thing XRP needs to do is reclaim 242, and we could be on our way to test the highs and go up and take these targets. But 242 leers right just above where we are right now, and that is a concern right now that I have for XRP and the entire XRP army. Shout out to the XRP army. Already made some of the hottest gains in this space. So that's what I'm looking at, baby. That's what I'm looking at. All right, that's XRP. Bitcoin doing okay. How's dominance looking? Probably ripping, honestly. Yeah, I got a little bit of a pump here. Got a little bit of a pump to the upside. Usually when Bitcoin goes on those screamers, you know, you could get a little bit of a pump a lump to the upside. That's not what we would necessarily want to see for Bitcoin. We want to see a little rejection here, fall beneath the 1 minute 200 and start rolling over. We want this to roll over your altcoins. If you're an altcoin holder, you need this to roll over, and you need it to roll over now. What is that saying? What is that saying? I need it and I need it now. Oh, it's that cash. It's that cash commercial. I need cash now. I call JG Wetwork. I think that's what it is. 877 cash now. I need it now. Right? That's what they say on those commercials. I don't know if you guys see commercials much anymore. But yeah, that's what they say. That's what they say. I'm pretty sure I got that jingle right. And that's going to be in my head the rest of the night. That is for sure. All right. Let's dive on into the chat. King Helson, very hetero sounding. I appreciate you. Not that I'm worried. Yeah, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. Nothing wrong with it, but just say it. Let's see. Mom, what's going on? I appreciate you being here, Mom. Sin Nasty Kid wants to go over XCN. He said XCN may be the new XRP. I will say this. XCN, man, this chart's been wild. Has this chart not been wild? Like, if you've been trading XCN, this price action is chopped. Not just chopped. Like, look at these moves. 35% in just, 5 hours, followed by a 15% dump in an hour, followed by 11% pump in an hour. These are volatile moves, and you got to break it down in the smaller time frames. You do want to scalp this. But on the macro, right, even as you look at on the daily, it's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. I will say this. You have made, right, higher high, higher low, higher high. Not higher high than this higher low, but you still didn't crack that high. I want to see that high taken out. But on the micro, right, shout out to all the micro friends out there, you do still have this higher high, higher low sequence that you're in right now. And where would I look at? Let's look at it on the daily. Where would I look at for a bounce zone? And it's strange for XCN because, look, you got your swing low to swing high, and you came down. You already touched it, man. You already touched the 618. So that bounce right there, this bounce off the 618, which is about a 10% move. If you got that scalp, shout out to you guys. That was a big move off of the Fibonacci retrace. But XCN, you know, from the low to the high, yeah, you got that 618 bounce. So you're going to need to bounce sooner rather than later here. You'd have to pull a micro fib, and that'd be from this swing low to swing high. And you're kind of betting right now on the shoulder, head, right shoulder. You're in your golden pocket right now. And what do I mean by that? Let's look at it on the 2 hour. It's probably a little easier to see. Yep. So right now you're betting on, and this is sloppy, and this is just a reality, right, of how XCN price action has been. Shoulder, head, and an elongated right shoulder. These do play out just like head and shoulders to the upside. However, this is a coin that I've seen a lot of retail diving on into, and I think hopium and fear impact this market, you know, XCN, more so than other coins, in my opinion. And that's just my opinion. I'm just speculating. But shoulder, head, right shoulder does look okay. It would be hard for me to put this in a flag. Why? Because where would your second touch, like, you could say, oh, this is a flag. We've been touching it. We downward sloping resistance. But where would your support be? Would it be here? And you broke to the downside? Or, would it, you know, where would... You don't have 3 touches to the downside. So I can't say that I'm all for that, right? That all for that idea right there, unless you put your support line at about the 786. That would be what I have to look at for Synastic. And that's from a technical aspect. Onyx Coin, the only thing I know about Onyx Coin is this, is that it had a massive run. A massive run. I'll show you guys. XCN. XCN, for those of you guys who got in at half a penny, shout out to you guys. Shout out to you guys. This was the move. This thing went on a tear. Back here in 2024, the end of 2024, I don't think anybody's going to ever forget this move. It made one of the quickest moves I've ever seen in crypto history. One of the quickest moves I've ever seen. On January 15th, all the way to January 27th, in 2 weeks, you 20x your money. Let that sit in. And that's if you got in right prior to the breakout. Some people got in down lower in these zones. Some of these people 47x their money on Onyx Coin in just 3 months. 47x. That's without leverage. That's without leverage. That is if you are holding spot. And, you know, some of the exchanges started listening. It is what it is. Robert, I got you, man. I see you with Ondo. We'll dive on into that, I promise. Onyx Coin, 47x. Like, that is insane. That's insane price action. And, you know, off the high, look at this on the weekly. This thing used to trade much higher than this. What is that? Is it? I hope that was a scam wick, man. I really do. I hope it was. But just like anything that's got sold off massively, you've had a couple weekly pops here. You can zoom on in and see them. Shorts will get liquidated. Shorts will get liquidated. A 181% move on the weekly. And they'll get liquidated. They'll get liquidated. You'll come back to the lows. Did you come back to the lows? Not really. You made a little bit of a cup and handle here. Yeah, on the macro. Is that a cup and handle? That would be really juicy if you caught that. Got an 886 double bottom right there. Retracing. That's what let you in your gigantic move right there. You cracked that double bottom. Close that candle. Didn't even close the candle. You didn't even care. You were gone. You were gone for XCN. So can XCN be the next XRP? And to answer that question, what do I have to do? Well, first of all, I'm for easy numbers. So to get to... Oh! We disconnected. Whoa, 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 whoa. Did I disconnect? Did I disconnect? Do you guys see me right now? OBS kind of threw me into a loop. I don't know where I lost you guys. But XCN, my point being is when you crack this prior high, right, back here on the weekly, you went on a cataclysmic moonshot, right? And it got FOMO'd, right? You got FOMO'd. Even on the 1 hour, I remember breaking this down on the 1 hour back here when we did have that move. You had a bull flag, up, flag, boom, flag, boom, flag, boom. And you're going to flag until you're not. When you blow off top, you had a massive, you got wrecked. If you got in at the top, a 54% drop in just a matter of what? Less than a day? That's the risk of chasing green candles. Very, very true. But here on the weekly, XCN, you know, with a market cap of, I'm rounding down to about 500 million. To get to the market cap of XRP, you would have to 200x. You'd have to 200x from where you're at. So you'd be looking at a $2 XCN. Is that possible? Well, it would need to do something like XRP did and create some major partnerships, get some major institutional adoptions, contracts, things of that nature, which I know is what sparked this move. The Onyx Coin made a partnership with somebody. I forget who it was, but that sparked that move. You got a giant retrace to the downside, right? From the swing low to the high. You came down between the 786 and 886 did catch you. And you got a little bit of a pump a lump, baby. So here on the daily, I'm just not interested in trading this. Could you get that shoulder, head right shoulder love? Absolutely. But to me, this thing's a little bit, if you're looking at the casino, you know how you guys have your games that you like to play, right? Some people like roulette. Some people like blackjack. Some people like betting on, you know, the number 1 or number 36 on roulette. To me, this is going to be like one of those games that are just way less likely to win, right? It's like playing at the tables versus playing at the, which is equally, you know, gambling-wise, equally bad if you got a gambling problem. But it's like you know, this, I don't want to say it's like the slots either. I think the volatility of this coin is a little above my risk appetite when I'm trading on leverage. I will say it like that. So for that reason, like Shark Tank says, for that reason, I'm out. Do I think it could do some damage? Absolutely. But, you know, it's much like XRP. If this thing's going to run, it's going to run without me, right? Just the swings are a little too much for me. Like, you're not going to see a coin in the top 100 do a 231% move in 3 days. You're not going to. It's not going to happen. It's not, right? There's not enough money in this space in order to make that happen for anything that's worth over $1 billion. It's just not, right? Not in 3 days. Not over a double up. It's very rare. Not even a double up. That'd be a triple up on your money in 3 days. Not going to happen. Not on any asset in this game that is on this list here on CoinMarketCap, anything in the top 100. It will not happen. There's not enough money in this game to make that happen. You'd have to have a singular liquidity injection of, you know, even something in the 24, you need to have $12 billion injected into Bitcoin token or Pepe or so, and that money doesn't just come from them, where it comes from institutions. These $1 billion, $100 billion assets, right? This isn't coming from retail. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but retail's not doing so good right now, right? With finances and stuff like that. I would imagine not in that spot, but yeah, people are penny pinching, prices are going up. And people aren't going to be, I think I'll throw $1 billion in the BNB today. Like, it's not, that's not what retail's doing, man. That's not what retail's doing. But, yeah, interesting. Okay. All right. Let's dive on into the chat. All right. Going down the line, we went on XCN, XRP. Where do you think people should set a stop loss if it falls? Sin Nasty Kid, that is a great question. So for I went over my trade ideas a little earlier, and they're pretty simple. You fall beneath this, you close a full candle body beneath the daily 200 SMA, which you did not here, right? You did not have a full candle body being a candle like this right here. My trade ideas for XRP, they'll be like this. I'll give you a long and a short. Long, and I have 2 shields beneath me either way. And a short. This would be the short right here. And if XRP is going to dump, the only area that you have to support you, any proof, right? Any proof? Yeah, you're like, oh, bulls will step in. Show me the proof. You can't do it on a chart unless you're looking at this high volume node. You could say, oh, right here at 190, but you know, that one's relatively small compared to these. The next high volume node or point of control of this entire range down here sits at about 60 cents. It's the reality. Okay. No, I don't think we're coming back to 60 cents again for XRP. I don't think so. It just has too much traction right now. Fall beneath this daily 200 SMA and retest it. That would be my short opportunity, right? Nice 2-to-1 risk-reward ratio trade. My stop loss would be where? It would be above the daily 200 SMA. It would be above the high volume node, and it would be above the prior high. I have 3 shields that will prevent me from getting stopped out of this trade and run this thing to the downside, baby. 2-to-1. Yeah, you'd have to, right? And you can take profits along the way. Nothing wrong with that. My short setup for XRP, that's exactly what I would look at. A break below the daily 200 SMA, retest, get in there on the short, right? On the retest of the daily 200 SMA to the downside and milk that thing with 3 shields that I would have such confidence in that play, baby. Such confidence. Now, let's look at it the other way. XRP breaks above this high volume node. The same deal, brother. Same deal. Let's look at it like this. Let's get this from scratch. So, high volume node. And this was the basis of the scalp that we took the other day that went on a moonshot mission, and we took some massive profits on that, right? We traded XRP for the first time here on the channel the other day, or over there on my X, you can see the trade. We got in, we got out, massive juicy profits. All right, so my long idea, simple, the other way, right? And for this one, what's cool about it, you can take it up to 312, which is the next high volume node, prior high. Or you could go up to that 1.618 extension area. So the long has a much better risk-reward ratio if you're looking at the macro swing, right? The macro swing saying that this is going to be your next higher low, right? And you're never going to revisit these prices again. But I would argue that you wouldn't before the bear market. Why? Because you're likely going to respect this daily 200 SMA the entire bull market, in my opinion. That's why it's so dangerous that we're so close right here. Because each asset trades differently off that daily 200 SMA. Go and look at any other altcoin and look what happens to it when you fall beneath the daily 200 SMA. Look at it for XRP. Zoom on back here. You lose this line, you're in trouble. You gain this line, you pump. You lose this line, you dump. You gain this line, you pump. You lose this line, you dump. You gain this line, you have a more, like this line, you gain this line, that was the macro move to the upside. This line is everything in my, like it is for my macro bias, right? That's why I'll happily short to the downside with good risk management, of course. To the upside, get above that high volume node, my trade would go right at the high volume node. What would I have protecting me? I'd have the high volume node, the point of control, right? The area where the bulls would then have proven to me that this is a key support level. I'd have the 200 SMA, and I put my stop beneath that prior low right here at about 208. So I'd be looking for a swing here, a low leverage swing, 5.36 to 1 risk reward ratio. To me, I get a trade opportunity with great risk reward either way, whatever direction XRP decides to take. Do I hope it pumps? Yeah, I do, but I'm not gonna blindly chase it, right? Look what happens when you blindly chase XRP pumps. You get wrecked. The strategic reserve announcement, you got wrecked, right? Anything else, any partnership, wrecked. Even just 2 days ago, you had that they acquired some company, you got a massive pump, wrecked, right? Like chasing those big green candles, not a good idea. Where am I interested in longing? You want to long on red candles and you want to short on green candles. And that's exactly what I would do. I would long on a red candle on a back test of this point of control, or I would short on a green candle coming up here into the daily 200 SMA. Those are my trade ideas for XRP, baby. For XRP. Whoa, 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 whoa. Am I freezing up? Am I freezing up? Maybe it's because I was yelling too loud. I was shaking the internet. Maybe it's because I have this cup here. Hold on. I don't know how Wi-Fi works, guys. I have no idea. There's a lot of things that I've learned in my life. I'm like, wow, that's cool. Like, I can't believe humans came up with that. But Wi-Fi, I have no idea. Can you guys imagine how that works? I have no idea. So whenever I put something in front of like the Wi-Fi, it shouldn't even, I'm Ethernet cable connected. That's weird. Let me know if it, oh, we're good. All right, okay, cool. I don't know if I froze out during any of that analysis, but that's my long and my short scenarios for XRP. Right now, Nasty Kid, in my opinion, it is a no trade zone for me. I have my trading plan. I have my trading plan for XRP, and I intend to take these trades. I have my trading plan for XRP. And I'll take it long or short, man. I'll take it long or short, regardless of whatever the market gives me. I'll short XRP and long the rest of the market. I don't care, right? Based off of that dominance, the short, I don't think would be more likely to play out, but it would give me more confidence if that dominance started jumping to the downside that the pumps are going to be lackluster and these supports are more likely to hold. So, and that head and shoulders can break to the upside. It's got a 33% chance of doing so, right? 66% dump, 33% pump to the upside. You get that pump, that could be massive in validating such a bearish pattern like that. Very interesting. All right, so yes, that is what I'm looking at for XRP. Those are my trading plans for XRP. With that being said, I am neutral right now on XRP. I have to be. I'm not bearish. I acknowledge the downside risks. I also acknowledge that these could be some of the best prices, but I need price action to show me that I have a clear level of support or shields in my stop loss zone so I don't take that trip to Wreck City immediately, baby. Take that trip to Wreck City. Looks like Bitcoin getting up. Oh! Whoa! Where are we? ETH, give it up. ETH, right? Oh! Yeah, oh, man. Hold on, guys. I got to check on BTC. Where's BTC? Come on. Ripping, baby. Look at this. We're coming up to it. This could be the moment. We're getting close. We're getting close, everybody. I got my alert set at about 107.6, so you guys will know my computer will go off like crazy. We're doing good. We're back up that higher low coming in at your fib. Look at how beautiful that is. 618-786, 618 bounce to the upside. For those of you who don't know what this is 618, it's this line and this line, right? I have the 706, the medium line in purple there. This zone, statistically, based off of market structure, is likely where your next higher low is likely to come in. Where longs or leverage traders are likely to start diving on into leverage plays. And, you know, you could do it the other way too. Where are shorts likely to come in? Well, where did shorts come in here? Right when we started dipping, you know, to the downside. Or where are shorts likely to come in? We got to get over this 786. This 786 zone currently serving as resistance. Maybe some shorts coming on in here. Right? We got resistance there at the 618. We got above it. We're in the golden pocket. We're fighting. There's definitely shorts coming in here, which is good because it fuels fire to the upside. Looks like that 786 could get cracked. If that 786 cracks, we'll be at the highs, ladies and gentlemen. This 786, we closed a 5-minute candle above that. Not a full body. We close a candle above that. Likely, we go for the highs again for BTC, and we could be witnessing one of the greatest breakouts we've ever seen. We're at $107,000 for BTC, or 106,998. 106,998. Come on, Bitcoin. Give us that love, baby. Give us that love to the upside. Show us that pump a lump. I know you want to. You got above the 1 minute 200 SMA, 21 curving with price action, likely to come up here in this zone. We've only traded above this zone for about 10 minutes over the course of the past 6 days. Isn't that crazy? We're getting that move right now. 107, 100, moving. We crack these highs. We're going to be looking for 1 minute flags, everybody. We're going to have to, because when you crack the highs, you're likely to continue. So it's just a reality. It's just a reality. We could get a sweep and fail back beneath. That's a reality as well. There's definitely resistance up here in this zone, but we're coming at it like a freight train, baby. Coming at it like a freight train. All right, everybody. All right, cool. The stream's good? Good. If the stream's ever not good, make sure you let me know in the chat, because I'm just going to keep talking unless I see myself, right? Because I see myself on my phone, right? This is how I do the live chat. I see myself talking, and when I see myself not moving, then I'm like, oh, okay, there's a problem with the stream. But I rarely ever see that, right? Because I just get off on my tangents. You guys know me. You know how it goes. We are sitting just $150 off the high here. It could happen in any candle here. Looks like we can get that ribbage to the upside. I'm telling you guys, the FOMO in the space. How many of you guys wish you bought a little more Bitcoin under $100,000 today, right now? We had that opportunity, everybody. We did, and it may be gone for one of these days. We're going to crack above 100K, and I don't think we'll see it again. I don't know if we'll see it again in the bear market. I don't know. With the ETFs in, it's a different market now. I'm even questioning the 4-year market cycle, to be honest with you guys. I really am. Doesn't have to continue. But yeah, interesting. So I got my alarm set here at 107.5. I'm gonna set it here at 107.273 when we crack those highs. So if we do get that, we'll come right back to that. All right, we want our XCN, XRP, diving on in. All right, Robert wants to look at Ondo. Ondo, I'm glad that you brought Ondo up. Why? It's my number 2 altcoin holding, baby. It is my number 2 altcoin holding. If you watched the SEC roundtable the other day, not really good for Ondo. Didn't like what they had to say. That lack of confidence in the altcoins, or not in the altcoins, in the technology that crypto has to offer in terms of tokenizing the U.S. stock market. Do I think that is overdue? Oh, yeah. And hey, this is a potential. This is something I would just want to mention right here. I'm not saying this is gospel, right? Of course, nothing in trading is. Shoulder, head. Could we make a right shoulder here? It's an idea. Continuation of the upside, maybe. Get another higher low in here. 786. We'll keep that on our radar. But we got to, we could break out from where we are. But 107 did serve as key resistance earlier, serving as resistance now. Let's see if we can get over it in the next, couple minutes here. That 1 minute candle, man, getting a nasty rejection there. Look at that 1 minute. Oh my goodness. A little bit of a dump of lump. $200 to the downside for BTC. Once this thing squeezes over, there's definitely stop losses here, and here. Likely we continue further to the upside. Woo! Man, my chart's locked. Why is my chart locked? Oh, there we go. So let me get this stuff out of here. Potential shoulder, head right shoulder. But as far as I'm concerned, we may just rip from here. Who knows? Engulfing that candle would be beautiful. 21 curving up with the price action. Looks very, very good. How far away are we on the 5 minute? The 5 minute, we do have a little bit of bearish div. If we pump higher, we need to pump a lot harder than this in order for that bear div not to form on the 5 minute. How's the 15 look? 15 looks okay. So we got our alert set. We're over 107,000. We'll come back if we get to 107,260, 107.3. All right, so Ondo. I'm glad you asked about Ondo. Ondo's one of my top coins, and I'm not being rude if I go right back to Bitcoin, man. I'm just I'm looking for that all-time high rip. That all-time high rip, and we could get it at any point. So here we are for Ondo, right? A little lackluster on the daily, right? No lie. We got the shoulder, head, right shoulder, potentially. We got the breakout, but then fell beneath that resistance zone again. Not a good sign. But what I do see here is, regardless of that, and I think this was from the other day, man. I really do. That roundtable was awful. They said they just lack a trust in the crypto ecosystem and technology to be able to bring everything on chain. They don't know how they're going to do it, and they don't know how they're even going to bring the legislative process to crypto, because then you're talking about a chain being able to, essentially they want the ability to control the stock market, right? To be able to shut it down, which they have in the past, right? Pulling the breaker, as they call it, right? Over in other countries, and even in this country, right? When the stock market gets too haywire and they can't handle the amount of short or long volume that does come in their market, limiting your freedom, right? When it comes to, in my opinion, limiting your freedom. But they say, hey, we don't know how we'll do that. We don't know how we'll do that on, we don't know how we do. Hold on one second. Yo, guys, I gotta grab some water real quick. Give me like 2 seconds. Give me 2 seconds. I'll be right back. I'm gonna put Bitcoin on the 1 minute, and then I'm gonna talk about Ondo. If I miss the all-time high, I'll be back before the all-time high. I'll be right back. Gotta get water. I'm coming, baby. I'm coming. All right, we didn't do it. I was back in a minute. Man, I can't say that, right? Oh, in boot camp, they were like, if you said when you got there, they would be like, the recruit division commander, they would say, you better not be coming in my area. You better not be coming in this space. I want to see you coming. No one wants to see you coming. On the way, I'll be there, right? But you're not coming. You're not coming here. I was I was like, well, come on, man. What kind of joke is that? But they would say that to try and get you to laugh, to make you do a bunch of push-ups and a bunch of unnecessary stuff in the military. Crazy. All right. Here we go, baby. Let's dive on in. So, yeah, XRP stop losses, if it fails, where would I cut my loss if I was holding spot? If you're in XRP right now and you have not taken out your initial investment on XRP, I think you're doing yourself a disservice. I've shown the downside risks, not that they will happen, but imagine if you were in XRP in 2017, and mind you, that was way before they got sued. That was before they got sued, and they fell from what, $3 down to 30 cents. So if you're up 3 to 4x on your investment on spot and you don't take out 25% and recoup your initial investment, you're saying, boys, crypto, all right, XRP to the upside or to the downside. I don't care, right? Which is fine. To each their own. But I know you don't care about XRP. I know you don't care about Ethereum. I know you don't care about Bitcoin. You guys care about money. That's why you're here. And to be able to say, hey, I'll throw it all in, and if it goes to zero, it goes to zero. Admittedly, I'm like that with Bitcoin. But like that, if you're up 3 to 4x on your investment and you're not willing to take off 25, 33% because of greed, and you don't want to secure that initial investment, I'll tell you what. I'll use my brother, for example. Shout out to my brother, man. He took 50% of his XRP profits at $3. How many of the XRP holders wish they did that? You know what I mean? And he's letting the rest of his bag ride. If it goes to zero, whatever. But he made a multiple. He paid off his car. He did immaculate things with that amount of money that he had in XRP, right? He's not still holding, like, he's still holding a large amount of XRP, but he did the smart thing, took out his initial investment when he was up 5x on his money, and he took out more than that. But even if he just took out 20%, he could have been like, all right, now I have the same amount of money, and I just have a buttload of XRP that I accumulated at great prices, and I'll let it ride or die. But my investment is risk-free at that point. Risk-free investment, never a bad investment in my opinion. So to not de-risk yourself, right? Like if I bought 10 Bitcoin at 10 grand, I would sell 1 or 2 Bitcoin at 100 grand. Absolutely. I probably would have sold one at 25, one at 50, one at 75, and one at 100, and I would have let the rest ride. And that would have been, 200 grand that I would have accumulated over selling on the way to the top out of an initial, $10,000 investment? But if it's unrealized, then I still don't have that money in hand. I could have never done anything with that Bitcoin. So it's just interesting, man. That's an interesting question. Where did I cut my losses? Well, and it's evident here. Let me show you something for XRP. I'll get back to Ondo in just 1 second. I promise. When you're looking at XRP, take a look at this candle. This candle represents massive fear. For those of you looking at your altcoin, XRP did fall more so than a lot of the other, 34% to the downside in the span of like an hour, right? And from the highs, down 50% or so in the span of an hour and wick back up. This wick was devastating for a lot of people for XRP. A lot of people sold out, right? You cracked beneath that low, you got the stop loss, and I got wicked right above. The whales know that. Where do the whales think you have your stop losses? Where? If you were a whale, where would you try to take out price action? Where would you set your limit orders, try to force price into before you rip to the upside? It'd be here. And where to the upside? And like if you want to buy Bitcoin, right? If the whales are going to buy Bitcoin and try to punt the price up, where are they going to sell? Well, when everybody starts longing when you get above these highs. So like it's just a different way of trading. Like if you're multi-billionaire, millionaire like that, it's crazy. All right. Hey, somebody drop something in the chat to make sure I know that it's updating. The last thing I see is from MH. It's good here, man. I appreciate you saying that. All right. Rob Kazab. Ondo. I think this thing has massive potential in this space. I think it's going to do monumentally good this bull run. However, I think it's going to be lackluster in the near term until we get more clarity on what the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, needs in order to have the faith that Ondo has the ability to tokenize the U.S. stock market. That's the whole narrative that they're running on. Real world asset tokenization. Why is the stock market traded from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. every single day, Monday through Friday, with the exception of holidays? But Bitcoin goes 24/7 because Bitcoin's regulated by the blockchain. It's not regulated by an individual entity. Two good benefits of Ondo in the event that you get everything on chain, and which is another reason why I think that it's going to be a little hard. Man. It's going to be a little hard. All right, cool. The chat's good. The reason why I think Ondo is going to be a little difficult for it to move forward is because of insider trading. Not of Ondo, but in the stock market. If you put assets on chain, if you bring the stock market on chain, and this could be something that Doge or Donald Trump may address, I don't know. If you bring assets on chain, it would allow you to essentially federally prosecute anybody who is truly doing insider trading. Hillary Clinton, right? But how else did Hillary Clinton make $260 million in net worth with a $100,000 a year salary? That makes no sense. But I digress. Any politician, you guys could look at it over here, right? let's go look at this. I think it's right here. No. There's a list. This is it. If you guys ever want to hop on in and see what your congressman or congresswoman is worth, net worth wise, hop on over here to Quiver Quantitative. It tracks their live portfolio, everything that they own, right? Look at this. Rick Scott. I will say this about Rick Scott, business owner, everything makes sense. That is, he's worth a lot. Nancy Pelosi, $261 million. Look at these numbers. I'll scroll down for you. That's the top 20. Everybody has over $50 million in net worth. Top 50, over $20 million in net worth. Essentially, every senator / House of Representative member that you have representing your state and your interests are all multimillionaires. Every single one. Every one. Look at this. Let's scroll on down, baby. Every single one. How do they accumulate this money? Maybe over the course of time. But, that's $100,000 a year for 38 years if you didn't spend any money. If you're Brian J. Mass, how did he make that money? I'm not saying that it's impossible. And some of these guys could have landed awesome investments, right? But when you're tickling up into here, in the top 50, it's just really, really interesting. It's just really, really interesting to look at. So think about it. If, and I'm not accusing, but if these people are making their money via insider trading, why are they going to approve Ondo? Right? If Ondo can prove what they're doing and they're doing it illegally, why would Nancy Pelosi be like, yeah, that's a good idea. Absolutely. If you were insider trading, would you want to be like, that's like being a criminal and being like, more police, baby. Let's dive on in. Yeah, bring them in here. I love the police. No criminal's going to say that, right? So it's an interesting way to look at that from Ondo. And a lot of the people that came and spoke at the SEC roundtable seemed very hesitant about the finance, about the technology. I think the technology is there for Ondo. I think it is there for Ondo. And I think that could get massively pushed in the event that it's got to get past the House and the Senate, man. And I don't know how that's going to happen. I have faith that it will. I think that it will. But I think the market cap and the true value of Ondo will truly be realized when the stock market starts getting put on chain. But that's going to have to get past all these people, which I suspect have made at least a small fraction of their income from insider trading before partnerships were announced or government deals were made with some of the biggest companies that we have here in the United States. Very interesting. Lobbying is one of the highest paid jobs here in the United States. For those of you who don't know what that is, it's essentially bribery jobs. It's people going and saying, hey, we want you to vote this way. What do we have to do as a company to make sure that you vote this way? It's interesting. It's interesting. So for Ondo, and I know it's away from the charts, I think it's going to be lackluster after that SEC roundtable talking about the real world asset tokenization. I think it's a great thing that if you could charge people with insider trading, absolutely, that'd be awesome, right? I think that'd be good, and I think the American public are owed that. But you'd have to get it past the very people who are potentially doing it, right? Like those people, those of all the people that have insider knowledge, our congressmen and our congresswomen have more insider knowledge than everybody. It's the reality, right? That being said, potential on the daily, if you count this as your shoulder, head, man, I wouldn't even call that. Let's see. I like this here. I like an ascending triangle here for Ondo. Higher highs, higher lows. Looks good to me on the macro. Shoulder, head, right shoulder. You got the pop to the upside. Came down. But you are making higher highs, higher lows. Higher highs, higher lows until this low is broken at about 82.64. I think more upside here for Ondo is likely. You bounced off that 786. Got a little bit of a dip below, but you did bounce off that 786 coming out of the golden pocket as we speak, respecting the trend line. Looks good for Ondo. Stochastics reset. RSI at fair value. Looks good to me. You got to get above that daily 200 SMA. And that's why I put that red line. Look at that red line. How perfectly rejected at the daily 200 SMA to the depths. Fell beneath. You struggled. And this was all news, right? This was the Chinese tariffs, that big red candle. This was a strategic reserve announcement. You get above the 200 MA. You put a stop beneath the recent low and you can let these things ride, man. And drop beneath the daily 200 SMA and you're struggling until you get back above. So the daily 200 SMA essentially is your buoy, in my opinion. Your buoy, your lifeline, your life raft, or whatever. Saying that, hey, like if I can get over this, if I could close the daily candle above this, I feel safe knowing that that is my support. It just has so much confluence across all sorts of assets, all charts across the world, baby. All charts across the world. All right. Let's see. Diving on in. So we went over Ondo. I think Ondo's good. Ascending triangle, I think it's going to take some time to play out. Even if Ondo does get the pump, I think it's going to be lackluster. I didn't like what I heard about that round table, man. That being said, you did make a higher low on the macro, and you're rolling off that point of control to the upside. The next point of control, let me get this updated here for Ondo. We're the most amount of Ondo change hands. Right underneath you have the point of control beneath you. You did bounce off that very beautifully right here with that wick. Very, very nice. And now you're rolling. You're rolling your next high volume node at about a 121. So you do have a couple more resistances in the way than the rest of the altcoins, in my opinion. And there's altcoins that are like that, right? You have a couple more high volume nodes in the way than, revisiting the highs. And you retraced a little further than normal. And Ondo didn't get the juice since that SEC roundtable. I'd like to hear more data on that, but I think this chart does play out. I think you start getting that tightness in this range over the course of the next month or so, and you can get that boom for Ondo. I do hold Ondo. I hold it on spot. I don't have a leverage play on it, but I think this thing can do some massive damage to the upside. But the regulatory clarity needs to be there, and I am starting to get a little bit of a weary factor on that for Ondo, baby, for Ondo. All right, diving on in. Appreciate you guys dropping your coins in the chat. Much love to everybody that is here, to everybody that is new to the channel. Make sure you hit that like button, baby, and subscribe. If you guys are new, we're on the all-time high hunt here for BTC, and we're looking at it right now. So close, baby, so close here on that 5-minute time frame. Looking okay. We are speculating on the inverted shoulder, head, right shoulder, potentially playing out here. Shoulder, head, right shoulder, looking really, really juicy here for BTC. That next higher low likely to come in where? Let's look at it on the 1-minute time frame. Zooming on in. Where's the next higher low likely to come in? We can look at this on the 1-minute time frame. And I'll pull a fib right here from this reaction to the 786. 786 likely to be your bounce zone right here on the 1-minute time frame. That's how you trade it. It'd be above the 1-minute 200 SMA. Looks juicy. I'm looking for a bounce here. It doesn't have to happen, but could definitely happen. And if it did not happen, I'd be looking for a pull from this reaction right here. This reaction right here at about 106.5 for my next high probability area where that right shoulder could potentially come into play. You also have your macro. When I'm talking about macro, I'm talking about, look at that, the bounce off the 706 looking good. Man, I'd love to see this shoulder play out right here. Just show how powerful the Fibonacci's are. An insanely powerful tool. Insanely powerful tool if you guys know how to use them. And you can use them on all sorts of time frames. The 1-minute oversold stochastics, mark line, cross, or it's pinned right now actually, but likely to cross the signal line here as it comes down a little deeper into the golden pocket, baby. Looking good for BTC for that squeeze to the upside. We come up there again. How many times are going to hit on this door? How many times can the police smack on your door with the battering ram? Not that that's ever happened to me, before your door caves in. So that's the question you got to ask yourself right now here for BTC. We'll keep that on the radar here as we hopefully make a higher low here and continue and go to squeeze them shorts, baby. Squeeze them shorts. So in summary, Ondo looking good, streams looking good, good, all good. You guys are good. I appreciate you guys hanging out here. Synastic, I appreciate that. Yeah, smash the like button. You heard that IOTA is going to do real world assets, right? So IOTA. I don't know much about it, man. I'll be honest with you. IOTA number 85 deserves respect. Any coin being in the top 100 deserves respect. Max supply not released, right? So if it has this tack line here, it's not necessarily infinity, but coin market cap doesn't have access to that data. Yeah, so yeah, that's interesting, man. That's interesting. I'm gonna write that down. I'll do a little deep dive into it. But whether it's IOTA, right, or Ondo, and it didn't specifically name Ondo, but whether it's either of those chains, it doesn't really matter. To me, it's all about the real world asset tokenization needs to get through legislation in order to tokenize the stock market. Very, very, very important. Look at that fib, baby. We're getting out of that zone. We're going to leave that cook there. We're going to leave that cook. So, yeah, and that's for Ondo, and that's for any real-world asset aggregator in the game. You also have to wonder, Mantra DAO was in the real-world asset space as well, and that was a rug pull. I think the market's still recovering from that, and it may take some time. Ondo's the next biggest leader, but the Mantra DAO was leading that space. You know, it was the top 20 crypto, and look what happened to it. I think that left a stain, right, on the real world asset tokens. This thing will never recover. I'll put my trader stamp on it. This asset will never recover from that. I don't care if it's a liquidity issue. If you see a candle like this on your chart We went over this a couple other times. For those of you who don't know, that was a singular 2-minute time period. That was a 2-minute time frame that did it. Oh, I can't go back that far, can I? But yeah, back here, you go back in the charts far enough, this was a 2-minute candle. And to me, I don't care what the CEO says. The team rugged. Somebody rugged. Some institutional massive investors. Somebody who had more than was, you know, than was released. I'd be surprised if there wasn't any lawsuit or anything that came over that. That's insane. I know they had partnerships, potentially partnering with the government as well. That's why it was on that rampage to the upside. This was not a meme coin. This thing looked really, really good. I did look at the website after, right? And I didn't do a lot of research into MantraDAO, right, prior to this, because I don't own it. It's not one of my assets, right? But their website did kind of look like trash. It really did. Just my opinion, though. Just my opinion. All right. So, yeah, I think that left a little stain on Ondo, and I think the market's going to take a little time to recover from that. All right. Here we go. We're going to dive on into, so, yeah, IOTA, good rumor, man. I appreciate you. I wrote that down here. I'm going to do a little bit deeper diving into that and see what they're offering that Ondo potentially may not. And, you know, you provide a service just like any other company. You provide a service that another company is unable to provide, or you can provide it better. That valuation will be reflected in your token price over the course of time as you start proving that to the public. One thing I want to look at real quick, I'm going to dive on into Kaito and Jasmine. I want to take a peek at Bitcoin dominance, see how this is doing here. All right, so Bitcoin dominance did get a little bit of that pump and dump, baby. We did get that dump to the downside. This is where I called alt season back here. Yeah, I know. We're above it. I know. We got that little bit of squeeze. Did not expect Bitcoin, right, honestly, on that rally to take that much from it. I did expect a little bit of a pump, maybe a double top and then reversal, but it is what it is. All right. So Bitcoin dominance on the smaller time frame starting to roll over. That's exactly what we want to do. Play 200 MAs to the 200 MA dominoes to the downside. Currently got beneath the 1 minute. Rejection. And you don't want to see that cross for the sake of the altcoins, right, in the near term. Okay, what we're looking at. Kaito, Jasmine or Kaito. Kaito first, baby. And I don't know if it pulls up the same, you know, I think it pulls up the same for you guys as it does for me. But all right, let's do this. Let's dive on in. Like, what am I looking at? Oh, the 1 minute time frame. Okay. Let's look at this for Kaito. So Kaito, we did this coin the other day. Still doing what, you know, still trending in this flag, right? A little bit of a broken pattern right there on the 4 hour. On the daily, what's it look like? Daily looks juicy. You're still on the flag, trending to the upside, looking good, allowing, this is beautiful, man. Whenever you're trending sideways, right, inside of a range, and your stochastics RSI is starting to reset and you get down to that 50 value, you can start that curvature. That's when you're going to get the move out of this flag. The 21 curving up into the price action looks very, very nice here for Kaito. I will say this, based on where the stochastics are, you may get a little bit further. You may get another chance to get in here, you know, before the flag does play out. The 21 is going to take a little bit more time here on the daily to come up here, and it looks like it'll meet around there. That'll be your nearest support level. If you're looking for leverage, I'd like to get on the bottom of flags prior to the tops, because right now it'd be like a no trade zone, right? If I got long, what am I doing? I'm long and right into resistance. That's not what I'm looking. So I'd be looking for a breakout and a retest for a long and continuation, or a long down here, you know, speculating that support will hold and then hold it through the breakout. Those are my opinions on Kaito. Doesn't necessarily have to happen that way. The internet, baby, the new internet of crypto, Kaito. I like the white paper of this project. We went over it not too long ago when Sin Nasty Kid dropped it on our radar. And man, since the lows, it has recovered substantially. I think when alt season starts, this thing's going to do some massive damage to the upside. A relatively low value token comparatively to the, you know, things that are in the top 100. I don't know what Kaito's Kaito at 124. So less than $500 million market cap. This thing has legs. I could see this thing 10xing. One thing that is a little concerning, about 24% of the supply that is out. But with that being said, you know, and this is cool about CoinMarketCap. You can kind of come on over here and see everybody's trade ideas on the latest and stuff like that. Kaito 2.5 soon. We'll see. But yeah, 24% of the circulating supply, or the supply, is out. You got to wonder, like, who has all the supply? Is there a vesting period? When are those token unlocks coming? Because that could provide selling pressure. But at the end of the day, there's only 241 million Kaito tokens as of right now. So you want to look into that and see how those tokens are going to get released. Just important that you do for any asset, right? If you knew, if you're not going to go and buy, right? If there's 20 apples at the grocery store and you and everybody else only survive on apples, right? And you're going to go to the grocery store when there's 20 apples. You're going to go when there's 20 apples, right? And like when you know there's going to be 200 apples in the grocery store tomorrow. Like, I would go when there's 200 apples. So I don't want to deal with that stress, that crowding, and all that kind of stuff. Right? I don't know if that's the best metaphor. But my point being, you want to know when those token unlocks are, because you want to be aware. You want to be aware of that potential selling pressure for sure. But Kaito looks good in the flag, baby. In the flag, I see more consolidation here for Kaito. That being said, if the alts start to rip, if Ethereum starts to rip, I can see Kaito starting to rip too. And this is no joke move. This flagpole, 137%. Kaito can do it. ETH can't, XRP can't, Cardano can't, Sui can't. None of those big ones can, but Kaito can, because of its market cap, can get that massive squeeze based off the flagpole right here in a matter of just a couple of days. This thing could run 100% in a couple of days for sure. That would kick Kaito in the top 100, I believe. It will. So this thing looks to move. This thing looks to make a mark on the crypto space. Kaito, baby, looks good for continuation to the upside. Thank you, Sin Nasty Kid, for dropping that on our radar. Come on, BTC. We could not hold there. We could not hold. The 1 minute 200 MA getting tested. What did look like we were getting respected there for a minute. Let me get rid of this. So now the idea, I'm about to get into Jasmine. Now the idea for me, right? Because this is constantly changing. So now, higher low, coming in at the 618, 786. I'm still speculating on the shoulder, head, right shoulder, but from the swing low, right? The swing low to the swing high, you know, this would be the zone that you would be interested in if you're scalping. And I'm not doing this, right? I'm not scalping. I'm not scalping when we're on the, you know, on the cusp of A, the biggest resistance that we've ever had in Bitcoin's history, and B, you know, a potential mass liquidation event, right? I'm not looking to get in here. No way. I'm not looking to long Bitcoin at $107,000 when I had 3 months, or I had 3 months to get into Bitcoin under 100K, which I did in the altcoins, right? We averaged in our box of remembrance, baby. We bought more Bitcoin. We bought more altcoins. That's what we were doing here on this channel, baby. That's what we were doing here on this channel. So interesting. Shoulder, head, right shoulder. Let's see how that plays out for BTC. And we could get some massive moves. That 1 minute 200 SMA holding up right there. Interesting. It's going to be a constantly dynamic, evolved event right here for BTC dominance. That is for sure. Swing low to swing high, 618. So you got your 618, you got your 1 minute 200 SMA, your 618, and your 786 that are serving as your bounce points here for BTC for this idea of the inverted shoulder, head, right shoulder. In the event that the 786 did crack, I would see that as a kind of a double top here, and we maybe do for a short-term correction here on BTC. You would invalidate the higher high, higher low. Yeah, and that would be essentially a rinse for the night, in my opinion. Not a rinse, but a little bit of a correction. Maybe 105, 104 before we got that, you know, bigger move. All right, let's hop on over to Jasmine. Sin Nasty Kid, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you being here, and I hope you enjoy your shirt, brother. Congratulations on that big win last week. The big win last week. Sin Nasty Kid. Or no, I was about to type it in here. I was like, Sin Nasty Kid. Let me think. Jasmine, baby, Jasmine. All right, let's dive on into Jasmine. Jasmine's pretty cool. Japanese Bitcoin, baby. That's what this thing is. You know, it's pretty funny. Curious. Who says that? He says that. Shoulder, head, right shoulder. Curious. I don't know who says that. I don't know why I'm on the movie quotes tonight, man. Curious. Inverted shoulder, head, right shoulder on the 1 minute, potentially looming here for Jasmine. 618, 786 looks like it was respected here. 618 got front ran. Looks really, really good on the 1 minute time frame for continuation for Jasmine. Just that Jasmine is doing this has me speculating that Bitcoin dominance. Oh man, that would be nice if it was Bitcoin dominance, wouldn't it? Bitcoin dominance is making a move to the downside here. Let's see it on the 5 minute time frame. Starting to make a little bit of a curvature to the downside on the 1 minute. Yeah, we did lose that. The 1 minute 200 SMA, it has been holding. I would love to see a turnaround here for Bitcoin dominance. Oh, that would be the perfect scenario. What are we looking at? Jasmine. Shoulder, head, right shoulder. Looks really likely. Let's look at it on the daily, though. That's what we want to look at. Because ultimately, the moves on the 1 minute, right? They're cool and all. And they're really, really neat. Especially when you get up here and you're closer to like those all-time high breakouts and everything. The 1 minute's going to be your best friend, right? But in here, you know, you can look at bull divs, bear divs, and stuff on the 1 minute to get a better position, you know, depending on what your you know, risk management and how you're trading. On higher leverage, you're going to need to use the 1 minute time frame for the best entries possible. But if you're using like leverage like I am right now in the market, 3, 4, 5x, so you're looking at higher highs, higher lows, and you're making that right now. Higher high, higher low, 786 respected. Let's move this up to the next zone. Coming up here, golden pocket respected, just dipped beneath the 618, right? So now this is like you're going to be your higher low, this zone right in here. So to me, you're not too far off from an area where I would very, very be interested in longing Jasmine, right, on the macro. You are beneath the daily 200 SMA. I acknowledge that. But you have changed market structure. Higher, high, higher, low, higher, high, higher, low, higher, high, higher, low. You're above the point of control. So those are the two areas. If you're looking along, right? If you're looking along Jasmine, I would have to put it here. I would have to put it here. And this is my thesis behind this long. So if I were to open up a long here on Jasmine, I'd be looking for the macro reversal. Stop beneath that high volume node. Not just a high volume node, but you got the 618 and the 786 and that prior low. You have 4 shields preventing you from falling to the downside, maybe a little further in the event that you get a double bottom here. So that to me is very, very nice and gives me a nice warm, fuzzy feeling that and look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Whoa! For Jasmine. Hold up. That is a macro support resistance flip. Look at this over the life of the asset. Ever since it's been up in these price ranges, I bet even from over here, it did. Look at that. Resistance, resistance, support, support, resistance, resistance. All the way back here in 2022, coming up forward. Resistance, got above, support, 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 support. Jasmine, support, support, support. Support, fell under. Resistance, resistance. You kind of had a little bit of a deviation there. Got above, support. That's a macro support resistance flip, my friend. That looks hot to me. I would love, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I'm out of dry powder. I'm entirely in the. I have cash to pay my bills and stuff like. Of course, I have money to pay my bills and everything. But everything that I have that I'm willing to invest is currently in the market right now. It's in BTC and it's in those 4 altcoins that you guys know, love, and I've publicly announced. Sui, virtuals are not in order, not necessarily in order. Sui, Ondo, virtuals, and render. That's where my money is, baby. Besides BTC, all of it. I have a savings. I have a nest egg, right? I have a savings, and I have a checking account. Pay bills. Besides that, it's all in crypto, baby. I'm in this, and I think that's what makes me different, but between a lot of other people that are in this space. A lot of other people make money off trading groups and things like that, right? I'm not a channel that's big enough to do that. I am just like you guys. I'm just trying to make it in this space. I'm really trying to change my life. I'm trying to retire my family, retire my bloodline, as they say. This is the only space I see me being able to do that. I'm not going to do that buying Apple stock, right? Apple stock isn't going to 10x from where it's at. Not anytime soon, right? Maybe in the next, 50 years. By that time, my back is going to be shot, man. I don't want to retire at 60. Miss me at that. Honestly, screw that. I don't want to retire at 60. I don't want to retire at 65. I want to retire at 35. I want to retire at 36, 37, live my life the way I want to, do this for a living, which I currently do, but do this so that I never have to listen to a boss ever again. I never have to listen to anybody ever again, right? Not anybody. I want to say that. That sounds weird. I want to be able to take care of my family. I want to be able to homeschool my kids. How else am I going to do that if I'm working, 12-hour shifts at some power plant somewhere? Because that's what I'd be doing. That's where my skills are. That's what I got from the Navy, right? Power plant mechanic. I don't want to do that until I'm 60. I want to do this, baby. This is my ticket out. This is my Charlie and the Chocolate Factory golden ticket. This is it. And I'm in it. And what's the worst that could happen? Even if I lost everything, and I've had this conversation with my partner and everything, even if we lost everything, what's the worst that's going to happen? What's going to happen, Matt? You're going to go and get a job. And you're going to work 9 to 5. The same thing that I'd be doing in the event that I had this, all my money right now outside of investments and savings. If I had 100K, 200K, 300K, 400K, 500K, I'd still be working, right? That's not enough money to retire on. This is an asset class that has the potential to print millions. Less than 4% of Americans are in this asset class. And it is very, very early and very, very new. I see this as the next industrial revolution, financial revolution, the thing that will eventually replace banks over the course of time. So that is why I'm in this space, and I'm in with you guys. And I think that makes me a little unique from, the rest of YouTubers in the space. Interesting. Sorry to go on that segue. Jasmine looks hot. I'll call that the alpha play of the night, along with H-bar, macro, support resistance flip, a big wick to the downside, held. You're above the 618, 786 of this next higher low here, and you've flipped market structure, right? Higher highs, higher lows, coming down to the 618, 786. From this range right here, you're above the point of control, looking to gap up in the VRVP, and you have not tested these candles that are up here from this massive liquidations candles that we had back here in on February 3rd. If your asset is sitting where Jasmine is right now and has not touched these price targets, that's where I would be looking for a potential squeeze. That's where I think the altcoins will go. Because a lot of these weren't sells. They weren't sells. They were liquidations to the downside. People having to cover their positions, right? Not necessarily people hitting the sell button, right, on their spot, but leverage liquidations getting taken out of the market. So all the shorts that developed in here are ripe and juicy for the squeezing, as they say. All right, diving on in. Smokey McPherson, I appreciate you hopping on in, brother. Absolute legend. Still waiting on the shirt, Nasty Kid. I promise you, it is on the way. Actually, what day is it? I think yours was supposed to get there by Wednesday. Is it Wednesday? What day is today? It's Tuesday, baby. Should be there tomorrow, man. Should be there tomorrow. I got the UPS tracking in the event that it doesn't arrive there. Should be there tomorrow, Thursday. You'll get your shirt, brother. It is on the way. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. Smoking McPherson, I appreciate you hopping on in. This is likely going to be where we call it, everybody. Let me see what Bitcoin's doing. I'll stay on it. Bitcoin's pressuring the highs, man. I will. I'll do it. You got the 1 minute 200 SMA bounce. You're in an area. I love the shoulder, head right shoulder idea here on the 5 minute time frame. We may be able to get that play out. Yeah, I'll hang out for a little longer. Absolutely. Shoulder, head right shoulder. You do have reset stochastics. That looks absolutely beautiful. I want to see this shoulder form out the 21 supporting price action. That could be what gives us our squeeze, baby. That could be what gives us our squeeze. How's our 15 looking? Crossing to the downside, not my favorite. And forming a little bit of, no bear div there. Let's see it on the 2 hour. Yeah, so to me, for those of you guys who are just hopping in, Bitcoin broke out. Bitcoin broke out. There's no real there's no pullback or anything. That was all yesterday, the day before, Sunday, right? Sunday into Monday. Right now, I'm looking for highs. I'm looking for new all-time highs here for BTC. This is the flag that I'm tracking right now in the charts. Flaggeroonie, baby. We had a lot of whipsaw price action. At the end of the day, we got above. And what gives me confidence, right, that we're going to go and to the measured target of this flag is this. You liquidated everybody, longs and shorts. You liquidated everybody with the exception of the shorts that are up here that are still left to squeeze. You liquidated everybody. That was it, right? Bottom of the pattern, out, retest. Got a lot of shorts to get induced. Prompted the move just 4 hours ago or 8 hours ago. Now, this 4 hour candle does close in 50 seconds. I just noticed that. We may get a little move off of that, everybody. We may get a little move off of that 4 hour candle. The 4 hour candle looks strong. How's the hourly looking? Yeah, it's looking okay. Shoulder, head right shoulder. 4 hour and daily candle closing. This will be the highest daily candle. Hey, shout out to you guys. For those of you who are in this asset that are in here, we are looking at the highest daily candle close, and we did just 2 days ago as well. The highest daily candle close in Bitcoin's history coming in right here in about 8 seconds. That is awesome. We may get some follow through here to the upside off of that daily bullish engulfing candle, engulfing all the price action of yesterday in the last 48 hours. There it is, the highest daily candle close in Bitcoin's history. Looks hot and ripe for the taking. I will say this. How many daily candles do you see that don't have a tail here? Very few. Very few. So we may, anything can happen at this point, ladies and gentlemen. Anything. I'm telling you, we are so close to the highs, you can almost taste it. You can almost taste it, baby. Let's look at it on the 1 minute time frame. New daily candle, new 1 minute candle. Very interesting, getting that bounce off of that 1 minute 200 SMA. 2 minutes to daily close. Yeah, daily close, baby. That was the highest close ever. That was it, baby. We have that new daily candle. Now look here. This is just for you guys' knowledge. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days, including yesterday and the day before, where we've traded above the prices where we currently are at this current moment. And even, and I know it's like, well, 7 days, that's a lot of time. It's not. It's about, how many hours have we spent? This is a 3-hour chart, the 1-hour chart. How many hours have we realistically spent here? I don't even think I could zoom out that far. I can't. How many hours have we realistically spent above here? Less than, maybe that's a day? A day and a half? Less than that? I'd say 18, 20, 22. I'd say 22 hours. I'd say 24 hours of price action in Bitcoin's history have we ever traded above this price. Super important. To me, that's a, we're not at the blue skies breakout because we're not above the wick at 110K up here, right? At 109,850. However, to me, you're getting to the point where there's going to be massive FOMO, right? There's going to be massive FOMO into the asset class. And you're going to get that retail spike, baby, where it's like, I have to get in or I'm never going to get these prices again. And they could be right. They could be right. Retail isn't always wrong, right? But look at this. Last time we cracked the highs, right? It was Chop City, baby. It was Chop City around that. Notice here, we got the double top. That was a little concerning, right? We came back up to the highs. But when you eventually cracked this resistance zone, right, that you formed over there, this was 6 months of pain. We have just been through, when did we start this? November? So we're about at that 6 months of pain mark, are we not? Is it April? It's May. It's May. It's May. So we're sitting at that 6 months of pain mark of just, this was, I know you guys hated this. We were streaming back here. This is when we started streaming, right before the dump disaster. But we were streaming and it was like, man, I remember this zone right here. You guys, a lot of you guys went with me, Sin Nasty Kid, April, MH. Yeah. I remember this zone where we were like, God, Bitcoin, just do something. It was so frustrating, right? Just watching it trade in this range right on that double top, man. And it was crazy because there was also that potential for a shoulder, head, right, shoulder kind of action. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't pretty. But yeah, wild. Absolutely wild. So the new daily candle did just open up. Currently green right now. Currently green on the day. That could definitely change. It is very early. Oh, look at that 1 minute candle, baby. Getting that pump a lump. Boom, baby, to the upside. For the 1 minute candle, that 1 minute 200 SMA, currently saving us right now. Now, if you're looking for your fibs, right? High, 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 low, high, 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 low. Lower, low, right? Lower, high. But I'd just take this as a lower, low right here. So where's the resistance likely to come in? You can pull the fib the other way, too, on the 1 minute. You're like, well, now, this area right here, if shorts were going to come in and looking to get on the move to the downside, that's where you would take your short, right? Because you're coming up to a macro 618786. If this is indeed the first lower low, you could speculate on a lower high and move to the downside. So that's how the Fibonacci's would work to the downside. I am not speculating on that here in any way, shape, or form. I am predicting all-time highs here out of an inverted shoulder, head right shoulder on the 5 minute time frame here that is rearing its head, saying, we're about to rip, boys, crypto. We are about to rip to Valhalla, the Viking heaven, I think they say. But yeah, boom, boom, boom. If we could crack this resistance, ladies and gentlemen, we could see some major fireworks tonight. But we still got about $200 until we get there. And it can happen in a candle. It can happen in a singular minute. We do not know. We do not even know if we'll see the all-time highs tonight. It's not a guarantee. But I think the likelihood is relatively high. And we're coming up on the Asian market open. You get Asian market open during FOMO. Oh, that could be cataclysmic to the upside. You got about another hour or so until that happens. But and until the Asian markets start and the Asian companies could start buying in if they want to, that may be their last shot. And if they view it from that perspective, it could get spicy, baby. It could get spicy. Now, Asian stocks do open, start to struggle. You could start to struggle here for Bitcoin. It could go either way. But right now, I'm speculating shoulder, head, right shoulder to the upside for BTC. How's Dominance doing? But back to Jasmine. I think Jasmine's one of the hottest setups in the game. You're flipping a previous support resistance. It looks hot, man. Sin Nasty Kid. I'd keep that on your radar. And if you're looking at it open up along with the stop beneath this low, to me, that setup looks hot. Go at least 2 to 1. But if you're going on the macro reversal, I would watch out for that daily 200 SMA. But, yeah. And you did make a lower low on the macro, so I'd be speculating at a lower high. But where's that likely to come in? You could get a massive squeeze, man, here for Jasmine. You'd have to... You could come all the way up to the 786. That's a 6 to 1, man. It looks juicy to me. Looks really juicy to me. I take some profits at the daily. Stop the break even. Risk-free trade to the upside for Jasmine. Looks hot. Looks very, very hot. I appreciate you dropping that on my radar, my brother. I appreciate you being here. You're an absolute legend. All right. A little bit of Chop City as the day does start opening. Let's dive on into the chat. 2 minutes till daily candle close. Smoking McPherson, thank you for being here. We went over Kaito, Jasmine, man. We went over a lot today, did we not? We went over XRP. I want to look at, we went over Ethereum. Did we go over Solana? Let's go over Solana real quick. It's another one of the big change. And if you don't know Solana, that's okay. If your asset is on Solana, it's likely to follow Solana's price action, right? It's just a reality, right? So let's look at Solana here. Sol, baby. Sol. So I think Sol's an interesting project. I do, however, have concerns about Sol because of the lack of trust in the ecosystem, since it had 3 meme coin rug pulls that have absolutely destroyed the vast majority of the world who invested in those coins. And it was spread across Trump coin. If you didn't get wrecked on Trump coin, you were like, I'll get on Melania. You got wrecked on Melania, rug pulled. And then you also got wrecked on Libra. All of which were launched in the Solana chain, and it gave question to its validity in the space. In my opinion, I lost trust in Solana on that Libra pool, because I'm like, how many times are we going to get meme coin rug pools without any kind of regulation on that? How many times are they going to be able to, completely just dump on people and get away with it, like just rob the public? I just don't have a lot of faith in the Solana chain. I don't own Sol. It's not in my portfolio, and not for that necessarily for that reason. But yeah, you're sitting 50% off the highs here. Not any better than Ethereum, in my opinion, where you currently stand on the daily. Got a lot of work to do to the upside. First, got to crack that daily 200 SMA. Very important. It kind of looks like ETH, does it not? Flag underneath the daily 200 SMA. I do acknowledge that. And you're coming into a higher low. Higher high, higher lows, baby. Higher high, higher lows. Pay the bills for the longs, do they not? Right? Higher highs, higher lows. Looks good to me. Come down here to 618.786. Make it that reversal to the upside. You didn't get that 618 quite yet there for Solana. But the chart is young for sure. So we may get that in the next week or so. Very interesting. That kind of suggests that is Bitcoin dominance just going to continue to rip? Like, because BTC, this, for the altcoins, man, this is the rejection zone. It has to happen. Even on the daily, opening up green. Opening up green on the daily. Yeah, opening up green on the daily. Yeah, so you want to see Bitcoin dominance start to roll over here. You got bear div, but this asset, I'll be honest with you, and for those of you guys who have been tracking Bitcoin dominance, this is probably the most tilting asset in crypto. I'm not going to lie, if you're viewing it from an asset perspective. Because it doesn't stop going up. It just doesn't for 3 years. Even, like, it has not stopped going up. Still speculating on the inverted cup and handle. Have not invalidated that thesis as of yet, right? If we crack this 786, that would definitely start questioning. I would definitely start questioning my thesis for sure, right? That 786 currently sits at where? Whoop. We're in the golden pocket. It could reject at any time. Whoop, whoop, whoop. 786 currently sits up here at 64.69. I expect some reaction, some turbulence in this zone. I find it very, very hard to believe that we wouldn't get any reaction up into this zone. But if anything could prove me wrong, it's Bitcoin dominance. Last night I called alt season right here at the highs. We got a little bit of a reaction. Not right here. But I said that would likely be the high for Bitcoin dominance off of that 618 retest. We're currently sitting beneath where I believe the altcoin season did begin. We did rip above and since then fell below. But this, in reality, this entire range can serve as your next lower high point, and the market structure will have been that would be a confirmation of a shift of market structure. And that's where I think when the alts start moving again, that's when I think alt season starts. When you get that confirmation in this zone to the downside. That could take a little time, the next couple of days, right? Especially as Bitcoin. If Bitcoin does go on that all-time high break, we'll have to see. But I am speculating on alt season beginning, and it starts in this zone. I was speculating on the 618, a little aggressive. We can get that rollover, and I think that is very, very likely. Flip this upside down, baby. Would you short this? I wouldn't be shorting, not when you're coming down to a 618, 786 out of a microstructure shift on the daily and on the weekly. You did get that bearish engulfing candle. Whoop. You got that bearish engulfing candle, baby. And that to me, what am I looking at? Oh my goodness, trading, be work with me. Yeah, I was like, that can't be the chart, but that is the chart for Bitcoin dominance. Yeah, so you got that bearish engulfing candle here on the weekly. And that to me screams volumes here for the altcoins. I can't move this. I can't move this because I locked. I'm going to move. I'm just going to move. No, I'm not going to move it. I'm just going to lock it. That 618786 has to hold. Market structure shift to the downside. So what I'm calling here for Bitcoin dominance, I'm sticking to my nuts, everybody. Sticking to the nuts. We have to do it. We have to do it. Bitcoin getting the pump again. Let's see if we can get this. Come on, baby. Shoulder, head, right, shoulder us. I want to be here, baby. I want to be here for the all-time high. All right. Yeah. Sineska, thank you, man. $2,500 away from the all-time high for BTC. Yeah, and it's crazy, guys. Hey, you know what's crazy? I didn't see this. You want to know how retail knows? My live, that was my best live I've ever had on Sunday, the other night, when Bitcoin was at the highs. That was my best by far, by like double the viewers. But it was insane. It was insane. We had like 150 views over the course of the live stream. And that's not because I streamed any longer than normal. It's just because, like, everybody's interested in it, right? Everybody wants to see it. We got that rejection yesterday was like, oh, doom and gloom. But now, right, we're testing the highs again. Wouldn't be surprised if, the viewership starts to tick up, man. It's just a reality. It's just reality. Nostalgic, I appreciate you hopping on in the chat, man. I've seen you here time and time again. You're an absolute legend. Thank you for supporting the channel. I appreciate you hitting that like button on your way in. You're an absolute legend, man. Kaito getting the move out of the flags, nasty kid. Check that out, man. Look at that daily candle starting strong for Kaito, breaking out here 5% since the daily candle. This hourly looking strong. Pump a lump, baby. You got about that 1 hour 200 SMA, and you were gone here for Kaito. Did I think that was going to happen? You guys just heard me 5 minutes ago. No, I thought there was going to be a little bit more consolidation. With that being said, these low market cap coins can start ripping and ripping when you're least expecting them. Kaito, in the span of what was that, 5 minutes, man? That was a 5-minute candle. Look at that 5-minute candle out of the flag here for Kaito to the upside, 4% move. And this is something you can do some leverage damage on. Isn't that crazy? If you're on 10x, you're going to make 40% on your money in just 5 minutes. Where else can you do that besides crypto? In my opinion, there is no other place, right? Even in the stock market, right? It's just a reality. Very, very strong start of the day for Kaito. I will keep that on my radar. Wow, what a giant green dildo to the upside, baby, to the upside. Daily candle opening green for Bitcoin first 15 minutes means kind of, not really anything right now. But we're speculating on this inverted. For those of you just joining, inverted shoulder, head right shoulder here for BTC, looking to come and crack those highs. And the target for this would, technically, from a technical analyst point of view, right, from this resistance that we have up here, that would take us up to about that area where you could expect that massive liquidation event to occur. Very, very true. Yeah, we are very close to the all-time highs. I appreciate each and every single one of you guys for being here. I can't believe I already drank another cup of water. Hold on, I got to text the lady. Oh, April, I know you're watching, my love. Can you bring me some more water so I don't have dry uvula syndrome here on the chat? Right? And I know my viewership would go up if she showed herself on camera, man. She is so gorgeous, I'm telling you. Oh my gosh, it's like straight model status. But she hasn't done that yet. She hasn't done that. But yeah, absolutely gorgeous lady. Absolutely out of my league. Way out of my league, I'm telling you. And she'll bring me water if I need water. I know she will. But yeah, super awesome shoulder, head right shoulder on the 5-minute, looking to go to the upside. Reset stochastics here. How's the 15 looking? The 15 looking the rip. We close this candle up here. That would be a breakout on the 15-minute time frame out of it. It's shoulder, head, right shoulder. I like the 5-minute a little better here, just based off the candle body closures that we've had over the course of the last couple of hours here. Isn't it crazy that we've been ranging here? This shoulder, head, right shoulder on the 5-minute for about 4 hours now. That 4-hour candle. Kaito continuing to rip. Does not care. Kaito said, I'm gone, baby. I'm gone. 107, 133 for BTC. Pushing here. Pushing. Can we do it? Can we rip through this massive resistance and start the cascading liquidation event? Can we put those bears in the coffin? Are we going to drink bear tears tonight for hydration to get rid of our dry uvula syndrome? I sincerely hope so. Boom from the all-time high. Likely, man, Kaito continue to rip. Bitcoin dominance also. Hey, my love, sorry, I was being loud. I'm just getting excited. I appreciate you. Thank you. I was drinking so much water. I love you. All right. Oh my gosh, she just flashed me before she left. Can you guys believe that? No, I'm just playing. She didn't. But yeah, crazy. So boom to the upside for Kaito. Boom to the upside for, this is it. We're right here. We're right here. If you guys are screaming like me, sometimes you guys are wake up in the middle of the night and look at the charts and your lady's sleeping right next to you and you just go, oh! Happens very, very often in this household, I'm telling you. But that's what I'm looking at right now. Inverted shoulder, head right shoulder. Bitcoin looking to show why it is the king of assets tonight. Looking to push here $107, $150 less than, boom, baby, we're cracking it. 107, 218. Rest in peace, shorts. My alert's about to go off. I don't want to jinx it. No, don't say that stuff yet, Boys Crypto. Don't do it. The 1 minute looking to take off. Stochastics are a little cooked, but on a move like this, we'll get pinned and we'll get pinned fast. We'll get pinned hard, baby. We'll get pinned fast and hard in the event that this move does play out to the upside. Flip this upside down. Would everybody not be shorting this to oblivion? Shoulder, head, right shoulder, looking to dump on you to the downside here for BTC, a 1.12% or 1.21 dyslexia percent move looking to occur here for BTC on the 1 minute time frame. We are continually trying, and that 1 minute getting rejected so far. Come on, BTC. Come on, BTC. When Pepe gets back to 0.0001, 1420. Hey, nostalgic. I'll say this. In prior market cycles, ETH has led the alts. ETH led the alts the other week on its monumental move to the upside. Historic move for ETH, 45%, crazy in 3 days. That was on an asset that was worth $200 billion, and ETH got injected another $100 billion in 3 days. That was no small move. Pepe being the number one mover on Ethereum, or the number one meme on Ethereum, I think it could do some massive damage, my friend. I think it could do some massive damage. Very, very true. All right, so out of this right shoulder, what are we looking at? We did get rejected from the highs. Where's our first area that we could look at for a little bit of a bounce on the 1 minute here? Looking to come down to the 618786 golden pocket Fibonacci zone. Let's see if this could hold. Let's see if it can hold. Hold, baby, hold, like the Spartans, right? Like the Spartans in that 300 movie that I love so much. Oh, my goodness. Golden pocket, bounce. Looking okay so far, and this is the 1 minute time frame. Incredibly high risky. I'm not in any actual trades on the 1 minute time frame. I will be transparent about that. Let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of this. Yeah, that 1 minute looking good. Cup handle, baby. Cup handle, maybe. Cup handle. Made a higher high there. Why couldn't it happen? You got a golden pocket bounce. Let's see if BTC can do it. Let's get that ribbage to the upside. Maybe the last induction of some shorts up here right before we rip it to the upside. A massive bounce there for Bitcoin in the 1 minute time frame. Crazy, crazy, right? Kaito getting a little bit of a rejection off of that response from BTC. We'll see how it goes. If you guys are not currently following me, it's not stuff like this. But follow me over on X at BoysCrypto102. BoysCrypto was taken. Could you believe it? Could you believe it? But BoysCrypto102, and you know, I always like my own stuff. So if you guys don't like my stuff, I'd appreciate the likes. But yeah, I keep stream updates if I'm changing the time, right? Any kind of hot stuff that I see throughout the day, as I do this on a normal, on a regular basis here. You know, and I'm looking, you know, the Sui trade, shoulder, head, right shoulder, looking to the upside for 420 for Sui. Like, I have all these ideas and everything that I'm constantly posting on here several times a day. I do it over and over and over again, and this is just something that, you know, it's like a little logbook, if you will. It's a little logbook of just everything that I'm doing. So, none of it's financial advice, but it is a way to keep up to date with me during the day. So, I'd appreciate a follow over there on there, and X account's totally free if you sign up. Easy day, easy day. But it's a way to keep track of me and what I'm doing throughout the day when I'm not streaming live. Much love, much love. Hey, I appreciate you, Nostalgic. Yeah, so back to Pepe real quick. I'll get off the Bitcoin chart just for a minute here as we are getting a little bit of rejection when we see how that golden pocket can hold. We'll see, we'll see. Pepe, baby. Pepe. So the number one meme coin on Ethereum. I'm going to put the trader stamp on this, man. When Ethereum gets the move, I'll bet it looks just like Ethereum, does it not? Yeah, it does. A little stronger than Ethereum, I would argue. Right? Pepe, speculating on a flag here, currently above the daily 200 SMA. You closed above the daily 200 SMA yesterday, as you can see right here. I'd like to see another close above the daily 200 SMA. As long as you're above the daily 200 SMA and the stochastics are starting to reset, in my opinion, you're looking good. Looking for a bull flag here for Pepe. And I know what a lot of people are thinking. That looks like nothing, Boys Crypto. It's so few candles. It was. But Pepe had a giant move from the bottom to the top of about 93%. And the flagpole here from where you currently stand on Pepe would take you up about another 56% to the upside. I agree with you. You crack that high, that's going to be your first level of resistance. And your daily 200 SMA is going to be your first level of support right here. You're currently ping-ponging around in between this, and the flag is forming out with reset stochastics. Looks good. I would give it another, I don't know. I don't think Ethereum, I'll say this, and this is speculation. I don't think Ethereum's going to break out until Bitcoin gets the big breakout. Bitcoin gets the big breakout, does that liquidation event, right? Goes through 110K, goes to 112, 113. Ethereum's going to be looking at testing the resistance of that flag. Same with Pepe. And then that's when I think, okay, Bitcoin's starting to consolidate. Everybody realizes, oh, I don't think we'll see under 100K Bitcoin again. We're done with the dumps. And then money will rotate from Bitcoin into the alts. And I think that's when Ethereum and I think that's when Pepe are really going to start to shine. Very, very interesting. Let's see what's hot on the bubbles here. Man, in the last hour, we've had some carnage. Some kind of wiki-washy price action here in the last hour. In the last 4 hour, most everything. Man, Trump getting a pump, baby. Trump getting a little bit of a pump-a-lump. Come on, Suey. I know you can do it, baby. Pump, baby. Pump. That's our only leverage position we got going on right now. But Pepe looks good out of the daily bull flag. You do have a little bit of div right there, just like Ethereum on the daily time frame. But once this thing starts pumping, that's not really going to matter. It really won't, especially if it respects the Bitcoin pump, right? And Bitcoin dominance does start rolling to the downside. That Ethereum pump was 45% in 3 days. This Pepe pump was 90% in 3 days. 73%, 83% in 3 days. That's what I expect the altcoins to make another move. We'll look again. These bubbles on the daily. Remember the other day, just not too long ago, we were looking at this and everything was saying 13 to 25 to 35% on the day. And it was day after day just a couple weeks ago, right? When Ethereum made that move, or like 10 days ago. That's what it will look like again when Ethereum makes that move, in my opinion. Man, Bitcoin getting the starch rejection right there. The 1 minute 200 MA saving us again, baby. That fib did fail. Fib failed. And it fails sometimes on the 1 minute time frame. It happens. But the 1 minute 200 MA has saved us once, twice, three. We can't lose. The bulls can't lose that level. You don't want to see the bulls lose the 1 minute 200 SMA because when you lose it, you kind of have some massive follow through to the downside. It is just reality. Whenever you lose it, it's just a struggle to get above. Downside, you get back above, you get that pumpage, right? And like that 200 MA, you lose it and you could go on a pump. Like you could spend 2 hours trying to get back above that 1 minute 200 SMA. And that's not what the bulls want to see right here. That is not what the bulls want to see right here. We want to see that head right shoulder idea come to fruition. You get a little bit of a double bottom right there, triple bottom on the 1 minute time frame. We'll see if it holds. Man, those shorts aren't giving up, are they? At 107.2. But the more times we reject from here, the more liquidity that's going to be put beneath us. And in my opinion, it's just adding gas onto a bunch of wood before we flick the flame on the fire. It is just a matter of time. Looking at the daily, get the 1 minute out of your mind, right? The 1 minute out of our heads. This is a very, very key area, right? And you're above support. You're above 106.1 right here on the daily is key daily support. Resistance, you got resistance. You got above support now. Daily support resistance flip. Weekly support resistance flip right here. Or down here. So you have massive support beneath you for BTC. This is why I'm projecting an all-time high here. We flipped some key levels on the macro time frame. On the weekly. On the daily. So I don't see this, right? I don't see this rolling over to the downside. And of course, could I be wrong? Sure. Could we double top of the wick? Sure. But I think the odds, we've broken through every resistance level that I've been tracking here on the charts with the exception of the prior high, and we did that. And we didn't only just do that, but we retested it here on the daily. A beautiful break and a retest here just yesterday, right? And the day before, Monday, massive sell-off, and you can tell that there's buyers down in the zone. I have so much confidence that we're going to go and seek out the highs. Kaito trying to take a little back there. Interesting. But yeah, interesting where Bitcoin currently sits right now. Frank Ramos, I appreciate you hopping on in the chat, man. You're an absolute legend. Nostalgic, I appreciate the follow on X, man. Yeah, that's how you're going to keep up to date with me throughout the course of the day. I do this 24/7, 365 days a year, and I do it all the time, man. I do it all the time. The charts are my life, man. This is how I make my living, and I love it. I absolutely love it. So, yeah, so Bitcoin, man, getting a little bit of a rejection. We do not want to lose that 1 minute 200 SMA. We lose it, and that could be, I don't want to say that's it. We'd be looking for a 618, 786, right? Out of the higher low that you did form here on the, what would be the 5 minute, right? A higher low on the 5-minute time frame to ensue. Definitely could ensue right there. That's your local area of support right here. If you break that, you're likely to come down in the 618, 786 zone. That could take an hour, 2 hours, and we may have to wait until the Asian trading session in order to get that pump a lump to the upside. So that 1-minute 200 SMA is really everything right now for BTC from my perspective. And I know a lot of people don't like trading on the 1 minute, and I'm not trading on the 1 minute, but that 1-minute 200 SMA is confluence time and time and time again. All right. Let's dive on in. Hey, Frank Ramos, thank you for dropping on in the chat, man. You're an absolute legend. Let's look at Dogecoin. Dogecoin, the #1 meme coin. Where'd I put my water? I was getting that dry uvula syndrome. Yeah, so if you've never been here on the channel before, man, you know how I feel about the people who watch this channel know how I feel about the memes. No, I'm not into them. I'm not. With the exception of Doge. Oh, what do I say? Dodge? With the exception of Doge, Pepe, Floki, some of the if your meme has over $1 billion in market cap, I don't think you're rug. You're not going to be a rug pull. However, the odds of you being a rug pull are relatively low. Dogecoin, the OG meme coin that has been in the space since I've been in the space, is not going anywhere. Right? I do full-heartedly believe that. And I think Dogecoin can see the highs. If any memes can, I think Dogecoin can. Right? A top 10 crypto asset. Nothing to be reckoned with here. Dogecoin is a beast to be reckoned with. Sits with $33.7 billion in value. What I don't like about Dogecoin is that there's 10 people that own 60% of the supply of Dogecoin. I still think it could do numbers, man. That's something that does put me on a red flag basis. I don't own any Dogecoin, but just the fact that I do like to put out there for people who are interested in investing. Let's look at it from a technical analysis point of view. What I already like, I do see some consolidation here, right? Higher lows, lower highs, right? Higher lows, lower highs. And this is, that's on the 15. Let's look at it on the daily. All right, so if you're speculating on a reversal for Doge, right? You did get this inverted shoulder, head right shoulder to the upside. A lot of the alts were showing this, and we were flashing this the other day on the stream on almost everything we looked at. Shoulder, head right shoulder. We got the move to the upside for Dogecoin. So where's the next likely move for Dogecoin? Well, you have two scenarios. A, you flag out here. You're already making higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, right? Potential higher low that is sitting right here. Where's the next higher low likely to come in? At the 618. Doge is showing relative strength. Did get that bounce off the 0.5 fib. It's not uncommon. But, you know, my Fibonacci's, in my opinion, like ever since I've been pulling them, just have not worked out the same way for the meme coins as they have for the rest of the market, right? On the, you know, it's just something that I've observed. Cup, handle, looking very, very nice here for Dogecoin. Can potentially get a little bit of a pull. You're in a falling channel right now. No doubt about that, right? But the upside could break at any time. Likely to be, you know, if this cup and handle comes to fruition, man, I don't know if you're a spot trader or a leverage trader, but this is where I'd be very interested, right? And and I know it sucks being like, oh, it's going to go down, because everybody wants that, like, oh, it's going to go up. I think Dogecoin's going to go up. I'm trying to get you the idea of where is your biggest bang for your buck. Where can you buy the most amount of Dogecoin for whatever amount of money that you're aiming to put in this market? And to me, the most likely probability is right down here in the 618, 786 golden pocket Fibonacci retrace. That would set up a beautiful cup and handle. Not only that, but you would get that support resistance retest here. Support resistance retest with that 786. It's in confluence. That cup and handle takes you on a massive target, right? You have the cup, whoop, cup, and the handle there. That takes you, let me clear this out of the way. That flagpole takes you on a massive target, right? Even if you did come down to your 786, from your 786, you could. I would be interested in taking a very substantially heavy long there at that zone in the event that I was interested in trading Dogecoin. Why? Because you're changing macro market structure. You have a bullish reversal pattern, that a cup and handle on the macro time frame. After you had a blow off top here, at about 48 cents. You came back down and you did make a higher low. So on the macro for Dogecoin, you have to look at this right on the daily. Higher high, higher low. Higher high, higher low. Where are you next likely to come for Dogecoin? Higher high. Until that market structure does shift here on the weekly, I think a higher high is next likely here for BTC or for Dogecoin. I like it. It's pointing up very violently in the upward direction. 2-week chart just getting started, getting ready to go. Dogecoin will move very, very violently comparatively to the rest of the market. Those are my trade ideas when it comes to Dogecoin, man. I hope the best for you. I think that this thing can do some massive damage. You're in a flag here on the 1 hour as well. That flag can ensue for massive pumpage to the upside. That is very, very true. This flag here that is forming for Dogecoin can be, a monstrous long opportunity, especially since you're reclaiming that 1 hour 200 SMA, and you got a little bit of a shoulder, head right shoulder vibe going on in there as well. Reclaiming that 1 hour 200 SMA, 1 hour 200 SMA broken to the upside, 1 hour 200 SMA broken to the downside, 1 hour 200 SMA broken, look good. 1 hour 200 SMA to the upside. So that 1 hour 200 SMA does show confluence in the chart over the course of time, man. And this thing looks to do some damage. A monstrous long opportunity here for Dogecoin. I would keep this fib on your radar. I'm not saying that it cannot break down. I would never say that, right? This is not financial advice. It's just entertainment. It's how I perceive the charts. I wouldn't be interested in longing in this zone just because of the uncertainty in the altcoin market right now. We're coming into a zone for the altcoins, Bitcoin dominance, right? That is imperative for Bitcoin to hold. Bitcoin getting the bounce off the 1 minute saving us, baby. The 1 minute saving us. You need to get the bounce here for Dogecoin. And more so, if you're in Dogecoin, man, you got to be staring at the Bitcoin dominance chart. If Bitcoin dominance starts going down, right? We're starting a daily red. Yes. Yes. That's what we want to see. That's what we want to see for altcoins, right? You want to see this start rolling over to the downside. Start playing 200 SMA or 200 MA dominoes to the downside. We broke the 1. Where are we coming? We're coming to the 3. We just broke the 3. Where are we going? Not where are we coming, because we're not coming in here on this channel, are we? We're just going places. We're going to the 200 SMA. We're not coming right now. We're going. That's what the RDC would say, man. Ridiculous. Yeah, so to the downside, that 5 minute 200 SMA, very, very likely to be tested, in my opinion. All right, so yeah, Doge does look very, very good. If this does round off and this Bitcoin dominance does prove to be a lower high zone out of this Fibonacci 618786 bearish retrace, and the 4 hour SMA cracks, and you get a 4 hour full candle body close beneath there, then I would be interested in the long inside of this flag that Dogecoin is currently in, and probably be up here pressing resistance. But you would have broken the 200 MA, and I have higher low market structure at that point. And that's exactly where I would look, put a stop beneath that low, and I would look to ride this puppy to the upside. But I will only take that trade. I can only take that trade in the event that Bitcoin dominance starts to roll. That's why it's like the most important chart in crypto to me. And if you're interested in seeing how your coin is doing comparatively to the rest of the market, you can type in doge.d. And I haven't looked at this chart. Market cap, Dogecoin dominance. How are we looking? Very similar to the Dogecoin chart. Also in a flag, suggesting that when Dogecoin gets this pump, it's not just going to pump, but it's going to steal market share from other cryptos as well. So that could amplify the pump. Looks very, very nice. Same flag. That market cap share could skyrocket here for Dogecoin. Looks good to me, man. Looks good to me. I appreciate you dropping that coin in the chat, man. You're an absolute legend. Thank you for being here. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. I don't think I've seen you here before. Frank Ramo, maybe I have once or twice. But I appreciate you being here, man. Shout out to you. Thank you for being here. Bitcoin, hold that 1 minute 200 SMA. It gets so volatile on the 1 minute, man. It's crazy. So volatile. All right, diving on into the chat. All right, Bitcoin dropping while ETH is pumping. ETH is pumping. Let's look at Ethereum. Let's look at bubbles. Interesting. Yeah, a lot of flux around the market right now. And this is going to happen at some point, in my opinion. There's going to be a rotation. Yeah, no, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying, but still getting a little bit of a drop off with Bitcoin following suit. There will be a point in time that Ethereum starts running, right, without BTC, just like we saw the other day. When this flag cracks, and I'm speculating it's going to crack soon. It could even crack tonight, ladies and gentlemen, while we're sleeping. Ethereum could go on a massive tear. Dominance can roll over. We're at the cusp right now. This is the line. This is where we stand. That 4 hour 200 SMA cracks for Bitcoin dominance to the downside. ETH cracks this flag to the upside. All altcoins in the top 100 are going to rocket. They're going to rocket. And we could be staring at each other tomorrow and being like, how did that happen? And that's exactly how it would have happened. These numbers could be absolute, I don't want to say dog mess, but absolute garbage comparatively to what we could see tomorrow. We could see 20-30% gains on the alts tomorrow. They're heavily oversold, and squeeze potential to the upside is honestly, in my opinion, at an all-time high. So, yeah, and especially for ETH. This thing has some major institutional adoption. And what did I say about coins that have not filled this gap? This was the mass liquidation event you had, right? This gap in the VRVP suggests ETH is going to 3,300. I call ETH to 3,300, everybody. That's on the 4-hour time frame on the flag. Are there resistances to get up there? Yeah, you have one prior resistance. Where's your daily 200 SMA? That's what I care about. You crack. I'm telling you guys. I'm telling you, and not financial advice, of course, but I'm telling you. If you crack the daily 200 SMA for Ethereum and Bitcoin dominance starts the rollover, there's no way to me that happens and Bitcoin dominance doesn't roll over. If that happens, that to me confirms the start of altcoin season. I'll just put that out there, everybody. I'll put that out there into the universe. ETH cracks this daily 200 SMA, sitting about $150 above where we currently are at about 2,658. That's alt season. That'll be the beginning. Ethereum historically has been the leader, likely to be the leader again in the future. So another thing I like to look at on the channel, right, and something I also want to keep in everybody's mind, the U.S. economic calendar. Super important, right? Because at 9:30, 10:30, we get U.S. economic data. That could swing the charts around, baby. Pandemonium in the charts. It gets crazy. We have nothing tomorrow. Wednesday's a nothing burger. So for people that get scared of, buy the rumor, sell the news events and news in there, Tuesday night does present a very lucrative opportunity for trading. And I think the odds of us that a breakout throughout the night are relatively high. I'd give it a 6. I'd say it's a 50-50, man, for Ethereum. 50-50 on BTC. Where's BTC sitting? BTC. Come on, 1 minute, 200 SMA. Save us. Save us. Getting the drop beneath. We need to reclaim that sooner rather than later, right? Sooner rather than later. Because if it starts dropping, you're starting to play 200. So you crack the 1, so where are you likely to go to the 3? The 3's down here at 106.1. Doesn't have to happen, especially since we're sitting at the highs, and you do have the potential fib that you can pull here from the swing low to the swing high as well. So that 618 leering right now, that 618 leering. And fibs are way less reliable on the 1 minute, right? More reliable on the 5 minute, that's for sure. That's for sure. You're likely going to get a reaction in the 618, 786, at least a little reaction here in this zone. Could get front ran, right? But yeah, this zone would be, if you're a scalper, that's where I'd be looking. So I'd be looking out of that inverted shoulder, head right shoulder idea. And you know what's crazy? Because it confuses retail. Because retail will see this as a double top, right? And it could be a double top. And I'm not taking that quadruple top or whatever. But without acknowledging that 786, 618 Fibonacci from getting, because you're still in a higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high market structure. When that cracks, right? When this low cracks, that would be cause for like, okay, we may see a more severe correction before getting that, reversal to the upside. And, all it takes, and I'm not saying Bitcoin has to dump for alts to pump, but if ETH does this, or if Bitcoin does this throughout the night and just does this, unlikely, I think the volatility in the space is at like an all-time high right now, right? If ETH does that, that gives alts the ability to run. It does. Bitcoin dominance will likely roll in that scenario. I don't see Bitcoin dominance pumping while Bitcoin stays stable. Bitcoin dominance pumps oftentimes when Bitcoin is ripping and when Bitcoin is crashing, not during sideways price action. That gives alts room to breathe and money to rotate from BTC into the altcoins, right? So let's see if we get this bounce here on the 5 minute time frame. Hey, much love, guys. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you. We're just kind of chilling here, waiting for this Bitcoin all-time high. I may cut it here. The lady did just get home. I greatly appreciate her bringing me some water, man. Actually, yeah, I am going to do that. I will keep up to date with everybody on my on X. On X, I'll be posting throughout the course of the night as long as I am awake. I'll be tracking this price action. Thank you all the new people that are hanging out with me tonight. Make sure to smash that like button before you head out of here today. I appreciate each and every single one of you guys dropping on in the chat. Let me give a quick shout out to you guys. Frank Ramos, Nostalgic, April, MH, Sin Nasty, Kid, Smokey McPherson. Thank you, brother. Michaela B, Robert Kazab, MH as always, Carol Boyce, my mom. What's up, mom? I appreciate you. King Hell, I appreciate you swinging on in today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Michaela B as well, and all the others that, Wanda, thank you, thank you, thank you. WPJW, I appreciate each and every single one of you. And Christoph for hanging out with me tonight here on this live stream. You guys absolutely rocked it tonight. Thank you for keeping me up to date on some of these coins, right? Some of these coins I haven't seen in a while. And honestly, the hottest coin of the night to me looks like Jasmine. Jasmine and H-Bar are sitting in some of those hot areas. I would definitely consider taking a little bit of a nibble if you guys are interested in getting in the spot or leverage. Yeah, 30 minutes, I might see a run. Yeah, absolutely. We'll see. We'll see. Inverted shoulder, head, right shoulder. This is my idea going on into the night. It's not gospel, but it can get invalidated. Shoulder, head, right shoulder likely. I would look at this 618, 786 golden pocket Fibonacci zone if you are a scalper. If you're looking for a massive long trade, I think those have came and went yesterday, right? Like, because the risk to the downside is relatively high. Like, because we're sitting at, you'd be longing right into resistance. And you could breakout trade this. You could breakout trade this. I don't like breakout trading because it gives you the potential for that swing failure pattern like you had back here, right? Right, you played the breakout, right, on the daily. You had that massive pump up, all-time high, everybody expecting it to go to the moon, and you had that breakout, and then you just got wrecked, right? And that would have liquidated you if you were on anything over, you know, like 12, 13x. So that's not a game that's liquidation, not like stop loss. That's not a game I'm willing to play tonight, baby. That's not a game I'm willing to play up here at the highs. Absolutely not. But yeah, BTC looking okay. I'd like to see that 1 minute 200 SMA hold here. Let's see if we can get back above it. But that inverted shoulder, head, right shoulder, my best idea going on into the night. And you expect some volatility going on into the Asian trading session. Opening up in about 18 minutes, everybody. Keep that on the chart. I'll keep up to date with you guys on my X tonight. On my X, follow me at BOYCECRYPTO102. For those of you guys who have been here in the early day, hey, you know, you guys message me anytime on X if you guys have questions. If you're too shy to share something like on the live in the chat or something, or if you want to go over something or you don't know, if you're a beginner or something, I'd be happy to answer anything that you guys drop in the DMs over there on X. So I open that as an invitation to you guys. I will get to you guys as soon as I can. I'm always near my phone and I'm always in the charts, so I have absolutely no problem with that. Much love to everybody. I will see you guys tomorrow night on the live. Thank you for an awesome live stream. I greatly enjoyed my time. It's been an absolute pleasure being with you guys here on this Tuesday night. I'll see you guys tomorrow on the live. Until then, Boys Crypto is out, baby. We are out of here. I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you for kicking it here with me tonight on this fine Tuesday. All-time highs. We're watching. We're waiting, baby. Bitcoin potentially all-time highs coming on into tonight. Thank you. Wow, that was an awkward sign off. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Much love. Bye, guys.